Guys, today might get out of control. We're going to be taking a look at some very high-quality footage from inside the SUV that carted Charlie Kirk away after the event at Utah Valley University, and we may have made an interesting discovery. I need your input on it. So the only thing I can do is show you the video, show you the pictures, and say, what do you make of this? But we'll take a really close look at it together as a community here, and you feel free to screenshot it, zoom in, whatever you feel like you need to do to help make your determination. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Please feel free to stab at the like button a little bit if you'd like to. If the opening theme music didn't make you want to stab at the like button, maybe my plea will do that. Don't forget to subscribe on your way in. And by all means, as always, feel free to share the program with your friends and family. I have some good news to share with you, ladies and gentlemen. Some really, really good news. Let me show you this real quickly. I was perusing the charts today because I saw Tucker Carlson was apparently a nobody, according to Mark Levin. So I looked to see, well, where is he on the podcast charts here in the United States? And he was number 2. I thought, well, that's not really a nobody. That seems kind of like a somebody. And then I saw Candace at 4, and I thought, wow, those are big names on this list. Wonder who else is on here. So I'm scrolling. Ben Shapiro. We got midget horses in the top 10. I'm scrolling. There's Megyn Kelly. Nice. Dave Smith. I'm a big Dave Smith fan. I like Dave Smith. He's on there. Matt Walsh. Okay, interesting. I don't know. Just Dan Bongina sitting in there somewhere. So I'm just scrolling. Michael Knowles. I'm thinking these are some big names on here. Pierce Morgan. This is really incredible. All these people. Pod Save the World. Hodge twins. This is great. Harry Sisson. This is fantastic. And then I scroll, Glenn Beck, Daily Beast, and then your humble host. He's right there, cracking the top 50 for the first time ever. I was shocked. I actually pushed away from my desk and I sat there and thought, wow, this is they've clearly made a mistake. They've done something wrong here. They've calculated incorrectly. But no, I've been assured that is not an incorrect calculation. So, guys, that's a testament to you. That's a testament to you guys for tuning in day and day out. I know it gets tough. Some evenings there are conflicting things going on. You got to catch it the next day. Spotify is a great place to catch it the next day. Of course, we're on streaming live to Rumble and YouTube every day. But again, today we have big ground to cover. The opening's kind of fun. It's a topic that's been in the news quite a bit lately, and I hadn't had a chance to look too terribly into it. Zach Costello, I was on his program yesterday. We mentioned this news piece on his show, and I thought, well, let me do an opening on it. Just figure out what's going on out there. So we will get to the opening, and then we will get to the big explosive. Well, I don't know if it's explosive. We'll get to the really strange, high-quality photos. I'm telling you, I have very high-quality photos tonight from inside the SUV. We will scan, we'll look, we'll scroll. There have been some questions. Is there a door handle broken? We can take a peep at the door handle. But it's something in the seat. Something in the seat that I need your feedback on, because it looks to me like something I've seen before. But before we get to that, let me take a few moments here to what else are we going to talk about? I was told the other day I need to run through and preview the show. I'm not good at this podcasting stuff, guys. I'm just not good at it. Turning Point heading to Ames, Iowa. We'll get to that. Yesterday, the Andrew Kolvet Blake Neff show. I refuse to call it the other show that they go by on the lower third. The Andrew Kolvet and Blake Neff show, they reacted to a 2028 trial date potential start. We'll look at their reactions. If you're wondering, their reactions were like this. Oh, no. But we'll let you see that. I almost forgot. Today, something massive happened. Laura Loomer had sued Bill Maher. I'll get to all this later. Laura Loomer had sued Bill Maher for claiming that, or for making a remark on his program that she might have had an intimate relationship with the President of the United States. And she lost. That order came out today, just a little bit ago. So we'll cover all this later. But the pictures are the big story. But I got to get to the opening, because this was a fun opening to put together. You never know. You just never can tell what you're going to come across in this line of work. And this has been it's been a fun story to cover. So without further ado, and with your permission, this is your opening statement. In the shadowy intersection of advanced aerospace engineering, nuclear research, plasma physics, and classified defense programs, a cluster of 11 American scientists. It includes engineers and officials with some of the deepest ties to the U.S. government's most sensitive technologies have either died or vanished since 2022. These individuals were affiliated with NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Los Alamos National Laboratory, MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center, Caltech, and the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. They worked on breakthroughs that could reshape humanity's future. Their collective experience spanned asteroid and missile tracking systems, revolutionary superalloys for rocket engines and hypersonic weapons, nuclear fusion for clean energy, directed energy applications, exoplanet detection with dual-use surveillance purposes, anti-gravity propulsion concepts, and the stewardship of non-nuclear components for America's nuclear arsenal. People die or go missing all the time. That's not news. So what makes this particular group unique? Well, the technologies they advanced hold at least $1 trillion strategic value. Anti-gravity or breakthrough propulsion could enable revolutionary spacecraft. It could disrupt global aerospace dominance, and it could grant military superiority in the emerging theater of space warfare. Fusion research promises limitless energy. It also could power the next generation's weapons. Superalloys and materials science underpin hypersonic missiles and reusable rockets. This is critical in the escalating space race, particularly with China. Asteroid tracking doubles as early warning for ballistic missile threats. And Wright-Patterson's classified programs have long fueled UFO or UAP or whatever they're calling it these days, speculation, including alleged reverse engineering of exotic or even extraterrestrial materials. In an era of great power competition, there is a grave fear that foreign adversaries like China, Russia, Iran, or others might seek to neutralize U.S. experts or steal or stall progress. Closer to home, there's a fear that private or government actors might seek to silence our own before they serve as potential whistleblowers or even competition from emergent technologies. Just this month, the FBI and House Oversight Committee announced they are probing these cases for patterns tied to national security. There's speculation of espionage or targeted silencing, though no definitive links have been proven. The cases of the dead or missing scientists divide neatly into two groups, dead and missing, 6 dead, 5 missing. While some deaths appear on their surface to have clear explanations, others remain quite mysterious. The disappearances are uniformly unsolved. They fuel theories of foul play or grand conspiracies. Notably, public reports contain very little evidence of any individual explicitly voicing fears of being targeted beforehand, with a couple of limited exceptions. Let's take a look first at the deceased scientists. Michael David Hicks, a 59-year-old physicist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. He had over 2 decades of experience. He specialized in comets, asteroids, and planetary defense missions like DART. DART-tested asteroid deflection. He died on July 30th, 2023 at his home near Los Angeles. The county coroner attributed it to arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease. Unfortunately, he had morbid obesity, and they listed that as a contributing factor. And that makes his death officially documented a natural cause with no indication of mystery or external involvement. Hicks had no reported statements about feeling in danger in any way before he passed. And while Michael David Hicks often is included in the list of missing or dead scientists in the past few years, I think it's fair to say that his death, while tragic, all deaths are tragic, could very well be natural and not mysterious. Then there's Frank Mywald. He was 61. He served as the principal researcher at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, focused on microwave engineering, not the kind in your kitchen. He focused on microwave engineering, Earth observation sensors, and Air Force technology demonstrations. He died on July 4th, 2024 in Los Angeles. Initial reports left the cause undisclosed, and there were no autopsy details released publicly, and even his obituary lacked any real specifics. So while not ruled suspicious by authorities, the lack of transparency has fueled, the speculation that something mysterious may have happened or there might have been a conspiracy to remove him. There are no documented pre-death concerns about danger from him before he passed away. Then there's Nuno Loureiro. Nuno was just 47 years old. He was a renowned Portuguese-American plasma physicist and director of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center. His work was leading cutting-edge nuclear fusion research with potential applications for energy and defense. On December 15, 2025, he was shot multiple times. He was in his home in Brookline, Massachusetts, and he died the next day. Police identified a suspect named Claudio Manuel Neves Valente. He was linked to the individual from a related Brown University incident. You remember making news a couple of years ago, a gunman at Brown University. His case was treated as a targeted homicide with a known perpetrator. And there were no reports, again, that he had any fears that he expressed beforehand that he would be targeted. Carl Grillmair. Boy, these names, not only are their professions challenging to pronounce, some of their names are challenging to pronounce. It's taking all I got, guys. Carl Grillmair, 67 years old. He was a Caltech astrophysicist. He collaborated with the Jet Propulsion Laboratory on infrared sky surveys, exoplanet detection, technologies supporting Air Force missile tracking. He was shot dead on his front porch in La Cañada, Flint Ridge, California on February 16th, 2026. They quickly charged a suspect in connection, but the suspect was from a related carjacking and a burglary involving a relative, and it was a really weird set of circumstances. But it's noteworthy to add, once again, Grillmair did not tell anyone that he felt like he was in danger. At least they didn't document it. We have Jamie Thomas. Jamie Thomas was an assistant director of chemical biology at Novartis. He had DoD contracts in cancer research, potentially overlapping sensitive biotech applications. He disappeared off the face of the earth in December of 2025. But then his body was recovered 3 months later from a lake in Quannapowitt in Wakefield, Massachusetts. March 17th of this year, just about a month ago. Reports indicated he was grieving his parents' deaths. Authorities suspected no foul play. His case officially is not considered mysterious, and there were no known statements about personal danger. So I'll say this about the first five, and then we'll get into some of the weird ones. I could see how you could take either side of this, that these first five, because of the nature of their professions, because they were a couple of them randomly killed, a couple of them just disappeared and then were found. I can see how you could look at a few of those and say they were maybe a little suspicious, maybe need to be looked into a little more closely. A couple of them, the guy with morbid obesity, maybe he just died of a heart attack, because that's what happens when you're that age and in that shape. But now let's get into the weird ones. Amy Eskridge. Amy Eskridge was a 34-year-old. She was an independent researcher in Huntsville, Alabama. She focused on anti-gravity propulsion technologies. She had explicit ties to the UFO/UAP scientific community. She died by an alleged suicide back in 2022, and then online reports and interviews began to resurface where she claimed she had expressed fears for her life that were related to her work. She claimed to be followed. She claimed to be tracked. She claimed people were breaking into her house. She talked about it on video and text messages. She said she was not suicidal at all, and if anything happened to her, that it should be investigated. But her case somehow officially remains listed as a suicide. So that's one I would definitely chalk up to a strange occurrence that probably should be looked at a little more closely. Then we have the 5 unresolved disappearances. These cluster pretty heavily in New Mexico and California. They often involve individuals who left behind personal items that defy the typical runaway scenario. The first one is Monica Jacinto Reza. She's approximately 60 years old. She was at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, where she was the director of materials processing. Reza patented a nickel-based superalloy funded by the Air Force Research Laboratory for use in advanced rocket engines and missiles. She vanished on June 22nd of this year, or last year, 25. She was hiking in California's Angeles National Forest. She reportedly disappeared mere yards from her group. She was with a group hiking, and she reportedly disappeared mere yards from her group. Her case remains open. There's been no trace of her found. And obviously, it's very mysterious because it was sudden and the proximity to the people she was walking with. But there were no prior statements of danger that have been reported that she had made before she disappeared. But definitely mysterious. Then we have Melissa Casillas, 53 years old. She was not a scientist. She was an administrative assistant at Los Alamos National Laboratory. But she did have a top secret clearance, and she did have access to very sensitive areas. She disappeared from her New Mexico home on June 26, 2025. And if you read the reports, her mobile devices were wiped before she disappeared. This raises obvious questions. Despite extensive searches, no breakthroughs have emerged after nearly a year. Her case is unsolved, but obviously very mysterious. There are no publicly known indications that she felt threatened beforehand. Then we have Anthony Chavez. Anthony Chavez was a retired former Los Alamos National Laboratory employee. We don't really know how old he is. I've seen different reports from 76 up to 79. I'm going to say he's estimated to be around 78. That seemed to be the most commonly. That was the most commonly reported age as I was looking him up. He went missing sometime between May 4th and May 8th, 2025 from his home in Los Alamos, and he left on foot. And what's interesting about it is the 78-year-old who left on foot abandoned his car, his keys, his wallet, and pretty much every other belonging inside his house. There have been exhaustive efforts by local police, and they've yielded not a single lead. His disappearance mirrors those patterns in the New Mexico cluster, and it's obviously considered very mysterious. But to date, we've uncovered no public statements that he made before he disappeared where he felt like he was in danger. And then we have Steven Garcia. He's 48 years old. He was a government contractor and the property custodian at the Kansas City National Security Campus's Albuquerque facility. The facility handles over 80% of nuclear weapon components. He vanished August 28th of last year after leaving his Albuquerque home on foot. But he looked like he might have wanted to vanish. He was wearing camouflage, carrying a handgun and a water bottle. But that's pretty much all he had. He didn't have his phone, his keys, his wallet, his car. And security footage captured his exit, but his case is unsolved and deeply mysterious given his top secret clearance and the circumstances. But yet again, there are no pre-disappearance mentions that he felt like he was in danger. And finally, last one, William Neal McCasland. He's a 68-year-old retired U.S. Air Force Major General. He commanded the Air Force AFRL at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. He oversaw $2.2 billion in classified aerospace research, and he briefly engaged the UFO community. He disappeared from his Albuquerque home on February 27th of this year, just a couple of months ago. Like the others, he left behind his phone, his prescription glasses, his watch, his wallet, and his gun. Yes, he's an experienced hiker. And yes, he had recently reported experiencing mental fog. And yes, he had recently stepped down from certain advisory roles he held. But it's still mysterious. His wife publicly noted his UFO ties, but insisted he had no special knowledge of Roswell or any extraterrestrial materials. But some reports suggest he may have planned not to be found. The high-profile case obviously remains open, obviously is very highly mysterious, and obviously considered a large part of sparking the broader federal review that is being undertaken. So as these investigations by the FBI, the White House, Congress, as they continue, these 11 cases highlight certain vulnerabilities of personnel that guard America's technological edge. And whether it's a coincidence, whether they're targeted threats, or whether it's something crazy, some kind of extraordinary conspiracy, the pattern underscores how knowledge in these areas, propulsion, fusion, exotic materials, how it can become a double-edged sword in an area of geopolitical tension, and particularly right now, UFO intrigue. There are no resolutions yet on most of these, and the families and scientific community obviously sit back and wait for answers. The general public may be learning for the first time that the pursuit of cosmic understanding carries very real earthly risks, and that is your opening statement. The only thing I would add to this, honestly, the only thing at all I would add to this opening statement is I don't think all 11 deserve to be classified as mysterious. We keep talking about the 11 scientists. I've even mentioned them lately. I mentioned on Zach Costello's show yesterday, I mentioned the 11 scientists, the 11 suspicious disappearances. Maybe it was up to 12. But then when I started digging into it to write the opening, I thought, maybe it's really like 4. And is 4 really that mysterious, honestly? I mean, you got to figure there's thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people in these fields that work at these different agencies, and just on an annual basis, a certain number of them are going to go missing or die, right? Or maybe just wander off on their own. So I'm not sure what to make of it. I went into this opening very convinced there was something crazy going on, and it absolutely was tragic, and it certainly needed to be discussed. I got to the end of writing it, and I thought, maybe it's pretty normal. But I don't want to be accused of being part of the cover-up. Let's go investigate, guys. Let's make sure we investigated it all. Okay. Now to the big story. I've got to show you this. I've got to show you guys this stuff. I'm going to pull up some pictures. Let me set it up this way before we do. When they had the hearing the other day, the beginning of the, I don't want to call it an evidentiary hearing because it's not. It's not an evidentiary hearing. It's not even a discovery hearing. It is a hearing they had to determine, A, whether they're going to have cameras in the courtroom, but B, whether they're going to continue the probable cause hearing. Are they going to continue the probable cause hearing? And when they had this, they gave us hints at what evidence they have. And we also had 16 different search warrants that Daisy had tracked down. And these search warrants had some really good information in them that we didn't have yet. They had things like the ATF report, or at least findings from the ATF report. One of the motions had pieces from the ATF report. We were able to pull that up and look at it. But we were able to determine that there were lead fragments of a bullet. So there were 2 different classes of object purportedly taken from Charlie Kirk after he passed away. One was the bullet jacket fragment. They were not able to track the bullet jacket fragment, at least not through testing yet, to a particular rifle. They suggest it might be of the 30 caliber class, but there's probably 10 or 12, 15 different rifles that could fit, handguns, all kinds of stuff. Those are just types of rounds. Really, probably hundreds of different makes and models of rifles would be able to fire a 30 caliber round of some sort, including carbine rifles, 30-06, 300 Win Mag. All of these would fire something that's akin diameter wise to a 30 caliber round, not to mention handguns and everything else. So the bullet jacket fragment very much still in play, but there was an interesting extra item on the ATF report, and it said that they had recovered 4 fragments of lead bullet, purportedly, again, from Charlie Kirk, even though they didn't say it came directly from Charlie Kirk. We just all assumed it did. And I got to thinking the other day, what does a bullet fragment look like? I've been shooting a lot. I've seen a lot of wounded bullets or bullets that are kind of compacted and all this, and I thought, how could you get 4 of them? So I went looking for examples on the internet, as one is wont to do. I went digging around saying, let me see examples of bullet jacket fragments. I'd like to see what these look like. Not bullet jacket fragments, excuse me, lead fragments from bullet. So I did a simple Google search. Lead fragments from bullet. And I'll show you some of the images I found. They didn't look like I expected them to look. Here's one, for example. That is these are lead fragments from bullets. So you can imagine if 4 of these were found in Charlie Kirk, there's quite a bit of bullet missing. That's not 150 or 225 grains worth of bullet. These are just small pieces of lead fragments. But they have certain characteristics. If you look at them closely, they share certain characteristics. They're small. They're irregularly shaped. Some are very small. Some are a little larger. They're irregular. But they kind of almost look like foil. You know, when you have little pieces of foil and you're trying to tear it off something and you get these little pieces and they roll up on you. And so I thought, well, that can't be the only piece of lead jacket fragment that we have, or lead bullet fragment. So then I went looking for another image and I found this. This is interesting. This is a comparison image. This compares a lead round to a non-lead round. You'll notice here this non-lead round, when it's recovered, it just has a little mushroom effect, but the round itself is very much intact. But you come over here to the lead fragments, and they look a lot like the one we just saw. These are lead bullet fragments. This would be a very large lead bullet fragment here in the middle of the guy's hand on the right-hand side of the screen. And these would be smaller ones kind of on the periphery. And then you have different sized ones here in the middle. But you have what looks very similar to what we saw before. And you can see how the light sort of glistens off of them. They almost look, again, like little pieces of foil. They're metallic. Obviously, lead's a metal. It's a soft metal. And I guess when it strikes things, it breaks into little fragments. So I continue looking. Are there other examples of lead fragments? As a matter of fact, there are. Here is one from a different image. This is a rifle round. You can see the rifle round here in the background. And you can see these fragments. See how the main piece mushrooms out, and then you have all these little fragments that break off. And what happens is when you're playing with this bullet, this stuff just kind of flakes off. Like if you're manipulating this bullet, this large mushroomed piece of round here, this stuff just kind of breaks off and falls off on you. It just sort of crumbles in your hand. It's very soft. But you can see what the round looked like. And for those of you who are not shooters, this brass piece back here, there's kind of 2 pieces of bullet in the top. This brass piece is the cartridge back here. It does not eject from the gun, at least doesn't go down range. Some guns are designed to eject it to the side or over the top, but this does not get thrown at the target, this large piece of brass. It's this brass, this copper looking projectile. This is what actually gets fired at the target, and the diameter, for all the way across, the diameter from one side to the other, when it's 0.3 of an inch, 0.30 inches, that's where the 30 from 30-06 comes from. That means it's 0.3 of an inch wide. But that would also be like a 300 Win Mag, would also be 0.3 of an inch wide. Now it's going to have a different cartridge. It's going to be a different length. The round itself is going to be a different length. It's going to have a different grain. It's going to have a different characteristic. But this is what they look like when they're still in a gun. This powdery stuff is what they look like when they're fragmented. And this is what the big piece looks like here. So give you a little education here. Let's go to some other fragmented pieces here. We'll give you another find, because this is going to be very important in just a moment. We've got another round. You see, this is the round itself. There's no cartridge on this round on the left-hand side. This is just a bullet itself. This is the bullet after it's been fired, but you'll notice as you handle it, you get all these little pieces that flake off of it. These are fragments. If you shoot this into ballistic gel, or you shoot this into a deer, or you shoot it on, God forbid, into a human being, some of these fragments will break off inside the person. And that's what they're saying was recovered. That's what they're saying is recovered, of these fragments. So we don't know how big the fragments are. They didn't tell us what they weighed or anything like that, but I just want you to get a good look at them. I'll pull them back up in a minute, because it's going to be important when we look at the car images in just a moment. I got some more in a hand here, just in case you want to see one more set of them in the hand. You can see these here. These are fragments. You can see these little pieces here. So it depends on the light, whether they appear dark gray or light gray. Might depend on the metal alloy composition, how much lead they contain. Do they contain other metals? Might depend on the manufacturer. Maybe Remington and Winchester produce two different alloys, and so some of them will contain more lead and be darker. Some will contain perhaps some other kinds of metals and be a little lighter, but it fragments up like this. This is what we're looking at here. And I got one more example before we go to the car. And this is one that's a little darker, and the light is not shining on it quite so brightly. So this is actually one I really like, because you can see some of them are almost dusty. Some of them are a little bigger and look like that. So I want you to kind of put these in your head. We can come back to these in a moment, because I want to show you something in the car. I was looking today at some very high quality images of the car. Very, very high quality images taken from inside the SUV, where Charlie Kirk was taken to the hospital. And I noticed something in the seat. And I thought to myself, that's really weird. So this is an image from inside the car. I want to zoom in on a couple things first. First, I want to zoom in on this door handle, because there was some online discussion. Oop, I'm not showing you this one. Excuse me, I pulled a Baron. It won't happen again, guys, I promise. We're going to be good. All right. So this is an image from inside the car. Let me zoom in real quickly on this door handle. You'll notice this door handle is not broken. There was some suspicion online a couple of weeks ago that this door handle may have been broken. This is a higher quality image. You can see it did double expose a little bit. There's a little blur to it. But this is a much higher quality image. And you can see this door handle is in fact intact. There is no break. There's a little, what appears to be a blood or mud smudge at the bottom, but nothing too crazy, uncharacteristic. If you look at the back of the seat, you see some other pieces here of blood, dirt, foot. Looks like some feet were up here on this up here. If you go into this seat, you'll notice this seat. This is where Charlie's feet would have been. And I believe Brian Harpole said he was on this seat. Was it Brian? Yeah, Brian Harpole or Rick. I can't remember which one was in the back right. But this one's over here. And you can see, I mean, there's remnants of the damage that was done to the inside of the car. This was obviously before the car was scurried off and sold. Then we go to this seat. Now, this is what I want you to zero in on. I want you to look at this little piece of metal right here. You see that right there in the middle? Take it in isolation. I might not know exactly what that was. But does that look a lot like what we were looking at on people's hands? A little piece of fragmented lead. It's what it looks like. That looks like a little piece of fragmented lead. Now, this would be the side of the seat where Charlie's head was. His head would have been down here. His feet would have been up here. So his wound would have been down here. And I saw this little piece and it caught my eye and I thought, well, that's really weird. What is that? And I zoomed in. I can't zoom in any more than this without it losing any kind of clarity. But I zoomed in. I thought, man, that sure looks like a little piece of metal of some sort. And so I scanned the rest of the seat and I see this. Do you see this over here? All up in this seat crack right here? Does that not look like what we were just looking at? That to me looks like fragmented metal, whether it's a piece of the necklace, piece of the bullet round that was allegedly captured. You don't really see it anywhere else. You just see it towards the back of the seat here. You've got a little bunch of it up here in this seat crevice over here. Then you got this little piece over here. Now, if you come up here, maybe, I don't know if this is just dust and crust and crumbs from a car that wasn't detailed very well before they rented it, or maybe they were eating in it. You see some gauze over here that I think was used, but it just looks, I'm sorry, guys, that looks like fragmented lead. That looks almost exactly like this stuff. And this stuff. It looks the same to me. And I don't know what to make of it. But Baron, are you claiming Are you claiming someone may have been handling a spent round in the backseat of this car while Charlie's being ferried to the hospital and manipulating evidence and shoving things deep in the neck wound? Well, certainly not. Certainly not. I can't claim that. I don't know. I mean, I can say these things look like metal. I can say they look like fragmented lead. I can say they look like all these things. I mean, some of these are pretty round and small. Some of them are a little flatter. Some of them are whatever. I mean, they kind of look the same to me. Now, here's the problem with this analysis. I'm going to take a look at some other photos from inside the car in a moment, but here's the problem with this analysis. The car's gone. The car's gone. I don't know what kind of images they got. I don't know whether they vacuumed this stuff out and saved it. I don't know whether that can be examined somewhere. Is it in an evidence locker or a box somewhere? I don't know whether they swept this stuff up. But the car is gone. I would think, knowing the role this SUV played in the tragedy that day, September 10th, I would think, just me thinking out loud here, I would think that this vehicle would have been preserved. That they would have taken this SUV and they would have put it, I don't know how police did, impound lot. I don't know what they have, a parking garage, taped it off, put some seals on the doors to make sure no one got in there. You know, the house next door to us that I grew up in burned down at one point. And it was suspicious. They didn't know whether the family tried to set their own house on fire, whether it was an accident. I think they finally investigated, but it took several months, but they finally investigated it and determined that they thought it was an accident. The insurance paid, they rebuilt it, and they still live there. But it was suspicious. And if you walked over to the house, and I did because I'm nosy, I walked over to the house to look inside to see if I could see any of the fire damage. It was substantial. But on the doors and the windows, they had a little seal. And that's what the seal did was it prevented you from getting in the house or out of the house without being known. If you broke the seal and went in, investigators would know someone's been potentially tampering with evidence and you could be in trouble. And there was a note on the doors, do not enter. You know, this is under investigation. This is a potential crime scene. I would love for Tyler Robinson's defense to be able to take a look at this seat, to be able to recover these materials and say, why is there a metallic material that looks a lot like lead? Why is it in the seat where Charlie's neck was, where there's a wound that supposedly had lead in it for the autopsy? Because it obviously raises the question. It obviously raises the question of whether his body was tampered with. We've already discussed ad nauseum that the wound does not appear consistent at all. The wound does not appear at all consistent with a 30-06. There's not a hunter in America who will look and say, that's a 30-06 wound. I can tell you right now, that's exactly what they look like. That's when you get shot in the neck with a 30-06, when you hit an animal, that's what happens. It looks just like that. No one thinks that. No one thinks that. In fact, so few people think it that they have to come up with all these alternative explanations to try to explain away what you're seeing. They come up with all these explanations to say, well, the bullet may have been tumbling. Maybe it didn't have enough powder in it. Maybe it was a defective round. Maybe it wasn't stored properly. Maybe it was, maybe it did some magical, maybe he had a Superman neck. There's all these different explanations they come up with. And when you are reaching that hard to come up with a justification that explains the neck wound, it's not hard for the mind to wonder, was the neck wounds caused by something else? And then were things placed in there? We do have, not testimony because it wasn't in court, but we do have on the record discussion of his security team putting their fingers deep in his wound. Obviously, if you're trying to stop a bleed in that area, that's also what you would do. So I'm not saying that in and of itself is suspicious, but it certainly raises opportunity, particularly when the seat looks like it may have had that type of material in it. And again, if you get out a fragmented round and you start manipulating it and you start pushing on it, it comes apart. It breaks. Things happen. And so I think it warrants a second look. I'm going to pull it up one more time so you guys can take a look at it. If you want to screenshot it or whatever. But this is, it's not a particularly bloody scene. I mean, the car looks cleaned up. This is not a ghastly looking scene. But this is very suspicious to me. This right here. And if you've ever sat in a seat and dropped something, you know what happens. It kind of congregates over there. If you're eating a granola bar while you're driving, the food crumbs sort of congregate in these corners because you're sitting and you're pushing it down and gravity sort of does its thing. But this piece in particular right here, there's not even any blood or fluid around it. It's just a little piece of what looks like fragmented. Looks like that. That's what it looks like. Sitting there on the seat all by itself. And I just think it's worth exploring. I wish the defense had an opportunity. To dive into that car, to recover the evidence, to do their own examination. I wish they hadn't torn it apart, detailed it, carpeted it, new seats, whatever they did to it, and sold it. Because all that stuff may be gone. And that stuff right there might be able to help answer the question, who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why? Because it would be able potentially to eliminate a 30-06 from the Losi Center roof. So that's kind of all I want to add to that. I don't want to dwell too much on this stuff. I do want to go around to another image of the SUV, though, another high-quality image of the SUV, and fish around for a second, because a lot of us made a pretty big deal. Actually, I have an insane amount of zoom here. What is this? That is an insane amount of zoom. Check this out. We can get in tight on this. Look at this. Hold on. I got to pull this one up. This is great. I put the picture in there, and Daisy put more zoom and insane amount of zoom in here. Check that out. That is an insane amount of zoom. She is not lying. Look how tight you can get in on that. I mean, what you tell me. I don't know. It looks like this. I'm sorry, it does. It just does. It looks like fragmented lead. That's what fragmented lead to me looks like. Depending on the light, sometimes it shines. Depending on the brand, sometimes it shines more than others. But that's what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like to me. Okay, now, I want to jump into some of these other images, because when Candace first showed this image on her show, they didn't do any zooming and really panning around on it. This was an image she shared quite a while ago. There wasn't a ton of zooming and panning around. And because we have a higher quality image now, I can really get in tight on this stuff. Let it resolve a minute, because these are big files. We can really get in tight on these little pieces that look like plastic that are all over the place. See that? I might be, because these are higher quality images, I might be somewhat changing my mind on these being plastic. I don't know. But when I got a hold of this version and I'm able to really dig in tight on these, this looks more like paper to me. It looks more like paper. There's another little piece of shiny metal of some sort, but these look like, I mean, I guess it could be, but look how, I mean, you can see the yellow through that right there. You can see the yellow candy wrapper, and you can see on this one right here, you can see the yellow through that piece right there. This one right here has a lot of hard right angles on it. That might be more of what we're accustomed to thinking of as hard plastic. You got another black piece back here that might have some sort of, this is I don't know if you can see my mouse. This is just above the top piece of the highest piece of yellow candy here. Right above it, there looks like there's some white on this one, but it might just be the light reflecting off of it. We have a footprint here in the back seat. I'm assuming this is where someone was standing on the car, probably Frank Turek getting over the car onto the back seat. It looks like there's some dirt or whatever that came off of him that's in that seat. Looks like someone may have wiped their hand right here on this. You can kind of see fingers right there. Now, one thing that jumped out, Mitch Snow actually sent this to me. He said someone named M discovered it. You see this seatbelt? I don't know if the guys wore seatbelts or not, but that is apparently a blood-stained seatbelt, right? That looks like a blood-stained seatbelt to me. And it looks like there's more blood in one portion than the others. I don't know what that means. I know a lot of people have tried to figure out, was this used as some sort of a tourniquet device? Was it potentially used for a more morbid purpose? I don't know. I don't want to even begin to speculate on that, just looking at these images, because I don't know that we have enough to go on. But I did want to point that out, that appears to be blood. Appears to bleed. I don't know that for sure. This, when you get in on some of these fragments, this one looks red. It doesn't look black like some of these other ones. This one looks red. I'm wondering if these are dried blood that were flaked off of the seat. But if that's the case, then somebody would have had to really get to wiping to get all these flakes all over the place. Because if these are all flakes of blood that were dried up and then flaked off the seat, someone would have had to wait a day or two, get into the seat, and then start, rubbing on the seat to get it off. And if it's an active crime scene, I don't know why anyone would do that. That doesn't make sense to me that someone would do that. So I don't know that it's safe to make that assumption either. But I did want, just so you guys can look at the same thing as I'm looking at, I don't want to be gatekeeping any evidence out here. I want you guys to have everything I have. But this is just a quick look around the vehicle, and then I'll pull back. And if you want to screen cap it and zoom in yourself, you can. But this is just a quick look around. Here's a bigger piece of that fragmentation, whatever that is down here. Some sort of, I don't know what that is, honestly. Kind of dead middle of the screen here. It looks like a little piece of rice or something right there in the middle of the screen. I don't know what that is, but it's sort of in between some of the more red tinged, papery looking stuff, whatever all that stuff is. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not a medical professional. Is it possible this stuff is some medical equipment that might have been used, some sort of anticoagulation or something? I don't know. There's no drops back here. There's no smears of blood back here. I mean, there is on the DoorDash bag, but not on the floor. So I don't know. I'm just very weirded out by all this stuff in here. And I wanted you guys to take a look now that I have these really, really high quality images of this stuff. You can see more of that fragmentation down in here, down in this little track area down here. So that's that one. And I have one more. This one has not been seen by anyone. And I will warn you before anyone panics, this is very heavily redacted. And it's heavily redacted for a very good reason. I don't want to go into the reason why, but it's very heavily redacted. But I feel like everything that's valuable in this image has been saved. So I don't want anyone complaining, oh, he's gatekeeping, he's heavily redacting images. I am. I admit it. But I feel like all of the important stuff has been saved. And really, there's only a couple of important things that I see in here. So let me share this with you. A very heavily redacted exterior of the SUV. You can see here some sort of, I don't know if these are scratches or if they look like scratches to me of some sort. And the reason I'm showing this is there was discussion on the police scanner, if you recall, that there might have been some sort of a struggle in the vehicle. One of the police scanners said they were following a vehicle. Someone was hanging out. They thought there might be another victim. that they were not aware of what was going on in the car. And so I wanted to show the exterior for a couple reasons. One is it possible, and I don't know, is it possible these scrapes and scratches came during some sort of an event that happened while the car was moving? Like somebody's equipment or zipper on their jacket or something hanging off of their belt was flapping against the car while they're doing 60, 80, 100 miles an hour, as Brian Harpole described, going down the road. For context purposes, the top of this, you see a big seam running down the middle. The top is the door. This is the rear passenger door, this top image here, the top part of the image. And the bottom part of the image is the paneling behind the rear passenger door. And so to orient you, the top left would be up. This was taken at an angle. The top left would be up. So up here is a window right here. Up here's a window right here. And this is the door. This is the sill of the window right here. This is the sill of the window, a little metal or plastic piece that goes under the window. So I'll zoom in tight. I don't know what these scratches are. I don't know what made them. I don't know why they exist, but I wanted you to see them in case somebody has more knowledge than me or has a more active imagination than I possibly have. This looks like fingers of someone potentially closing the door or holding the door closed. I don't know what this stuff is up here. This might have been someone pushing the door closed after they had opened it or after they left the car. I don't know why it's swirled like that or why it arcs like that. But I wanted you guys to see what I have. There's nothing else on the exterior of this car that looked relevant to me. There's nothing else on the exterior of this car that looked relevant. It just looked like this. And the rest of this is just a normal 24 Yukon Denali. So those are the images. I tried to put a piece together in my head, particularly for the scratches or whatever on the exterior of the door. Like, is it possible a radio cord had come loose on somebody's back and it was beaten against that door? I don't know. All right, I'm just looking real quickly to see if you guys had any comments that I could resolve before I moved on. Okay. If not, I'm going to move on. That's what I have. So we have something in the seat, something that kind of to me sort of looks like lead fragments, whether it is lead fragment or whether it's somebody else had some sort of other metallic powdery substance on them or some sort of fragmented metallic and left it in the seat for whatever reason. Or whether it's something that's not metallic at all and just appears metallic because of the way the light's shining on it. I don't know. I can't answer, guys. All I can do is show you what I have. So those are the images. That's what I have. Now, I want to switch gears because we made a pretty big deal last week about the cancellation Erika Kirk did at the University of Georgia. At the University of Georgia, Erika Kirk was supposed to appear with Vice President Vance. Vice President Vance did appear. We showed the plane where it circled around 2 hours before the event. We showed what Vice President Vance said 2 hours ago. I got word that we may not be going on. They told us it was about travel plans and all that. In the meantime, Erika Kirk went to speak. She was not at home. She obviously had to travel by car to get there, but went to speak in Phoenix with the President of the United States for a TPUSA event. And now we were told today, Vice President Vance and Erika Kirk will be back on the stage with a partially transparent Charlie Kirk hovering over the background. There's several things about this that stood out to me. One is they say, attention, Iowa students. It's not Iowa. It's Iowa State University. So I don't know why that they're going to Ames, Iowa, to Iowa State University. I don't know if they're trying to get everyone in the state to be there or what. I'm curious what the turnout will be like. Obviously, they did a poor job of turnout last time. The place was nearly empty. We'll see if they're able to do either a smaller venue or somehow coax more people into coming out. But there's something about this combo that they're pushing down our throat. Because Vance just did one of these. This is scheduled for, I think, April 30th, like next week. Vance just did one of these last week. Doesn't he have some vice presidency to do? Isn't there something he can be doing? We have a World War III on the brink of raging. Gas paid $5 a gallon or something, $4.85 to fill up the other day. Gas is outrageous. Cost me almost $175 to fill up a tank of gas. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. He was flying to Pakistan to try to negotiate with Iran. Like, aren't there more important things to do than do 2 TPUSA evening events in 1 month? It seems to me, if I'm Vice President Vance, I say, hey, I've already done that. You chose not to show up for whatever reason. But there's something about this Vance Kirk that they're just shoving down our throat. And if it's a pending presidential ticket, if that's what they're trying to shove down our throat, I want no part of it. I want no part of this combo. I don't even know that I want Vance on the 2028 ticket, considering everything that's been going on in the world since he's been in the administration. I don't even know that I want him there, but I certainly don't want her there as well. The second thing I noticed is they are committed, guys. There's something about commitment. I'll give people credit for being committed to certain things. There's something about the commitment from TPUSA here that they insist on using a promo picture of Erika Kirk from 2018, before she was married to Charlie Kirk, 8 years ago, before she had her 2 children. Like, that picture, it was on the Corcoran Group website in 2018. You can go back on the Wayback Machine and find it. And it's the only picture of her TPUSA uses. As if there's no more recent headshot. She's in her 20s in that picture. She's in her 20s in that picture. So that's the second thing I noticed. The third thing is, the more people tell me they could be siblings, the more I keep looking at these pictures and thinking, my God, they look alike. Like, if you put a blonde wig on Vance and made him make demonic looking eyes, I don't know that I would know who's who. Like, you'd have to shave his beard, obviously. Maybe that's why he wears a beard. He doesn't want to be mistaken for Erika. But there's something about this combo that they are insistent on shoving down our throats, that in the midst of a war, in the midst of him going overseas, they keep trotting him out. Now, I am very curious how they've managed to resolve the security situation. We were told the security situation was that people were tracking her planes. Is she going to walk there? Is she going to drive there? It's in Iowa. Scottsdale to Iowa would be a couple of days of drive. Is she going to fly coach? I'll buy the ticket, Erika. That's my commitment. If you'll fly coach, I'll buy your round trip ticket. You just send me the bill. Send me the bill. I'll reimburse you for it. We'll raise the money here on X or YouTube or something. We'll put out a fundraising. We will raise the money to pay for your coach ticket if you'll fly coach. And that way, no one will be able to track your plane because you'll be on like Delta. You'll be on United Airlines or something with the plebes in the back, with someone on either side of you sitting in the middle row, holding in your pee because you don't want to have to get up and disturb the guy sleeping next to you. And you'll get one of those packages of 3 cookies and 4 peanuts. And when you open it, they'll spill onto the tape tray in front of you, but that tray, is on hinges and it'll fall down on the floor, and then you'll be hungry the rest of the flight. And then you'll order water, and they'll bring you a cup of water that's in a 9-ounce wine glass, plastic wine glass. It's just filled to the brim. So, as the ladies withdrawing from meth handing it to you, it'll be shaking all over the place, splashing down on you. I will buy your ticket if you'll fly Delta. If you fly private, I have to tell you, I'm not going to do it because I already know where she's going to be that day. I have no interest in tracking her plane, but I have to tell you, people are going to know. They're going to know when you leave. They're going to know when you get there. So I don't know if that was the concern. I have no idea how you plan to resolve this security concern that was so grave last time that you had to not appear. You had to stand up the vice president, and you had to send Andrew Kolvet out there in rolled up black jeans, a mismatched blue blazer, an ill-fitting shirt with no collar stays and no starch in the collar and no tie to meet the vice president of the United States on stage. So I don't know how you plan to resolve this security concern. I'm concerned myself, Erika. I'm gravely concerned. Gravely concerned. So we'll be I will say this. Had she shown up and spoken that day, I wouldn't even have known what flight she came in on. I wouldn't have known what plane she came in on because I wouldn't have looked. So if her goal was to not be tracked, the worst thing you can do is not show up somewhere because then people are going to go, well, what plane were you supposed to be on? How were you supposed to get? Did you go? And then they'll start looking for planes and they'll find it. Hold, please. Someone told me I didn't look very classy drinking out of plastic. So I've got my mug. And a fine mug it is. But anyway, so that's what I noticed. They're shoving Vance Kirk down her throat. They continue trotting out this picture from 8 years ago before she even met Charlie Kirk that they took and had used as a promo when she was 28 years old on the Corcoran Group website, before she had kids, before she was married. And then they have this weird half-transparent image of Charlie Kirk. It looks a little bit like, do you remember the image Marty McFly held up in Back to the Future and he was like disappearing and his brother was disappearing? You kind of see through him. That's what it looks like. Like it looks like Charlie had gotten in a time machine. Maybe that's what they meant by time traveler. It looked like Charlie got in a time machine and disrupted his parents' meeting. Then he starts to disappear slowly over the course of the movie. That's what it looks like. Like it's see-through Charlie. That's a weird look. I don't want to see through Charlie. Here is, if you are wondering where the image comes from, we have the 2018 shot right here. Miss Erika Franzve, before she was married. That's the shot they keep using. No wedding ring, modest amount of jewelry, no kids, no husband. That's it. That's from 2018 from the Corcoran Group. I have no idea why they're so married to this picture. I mean, it's a fine picture. She looks great, but she doesn't look like that anymore. You figure now they'd have one where she's doing this. Stop. That's the picture they ought to use, is the stop picture that everybody uses. You know, whenever you say something online and someone tells you to stop, they show that picture of her like, stop. That's the one they need to use. That needs to be the promo image. Could someone Photoshop that for me? Take her out and put the stop face in there? Yes. I would show up for that. If they promise me she'll do that, I'll show up. I'll fly to Ames, Iowa. Promise me she's going to do the googly eyes, and I'll be there. I will promise you I'll be there. So if you can give me that promo, Erika, I will show up and I will be there. All right, let me switch gears real quick because this woman has been harassing our principal for some time now. And I find it hilarious that she keeps suing people and she keeps losing. A lot of these people that sue keep losing because it's very hard for these people to maintain a lawsuit. This is a Middle District of Florida, came out today. Oh, gosh. What? Oh, gosh. I didn't mean to turn me off. Let me see why I can't get it to pull up there. There we go. This came out from the Middle District of today. Larry Loomer, plaintiff. Bill Maher, HBO, defendants. It's dismissed. The defendant filed a motion for summary judgment. For those of you that don't understand the legal system, that's a procedural filing. You do a little discovery and you get all the discovery in, and then your lawyer says, even if everything they say is true, I still win. That's the standard. That's the short version of the standard, but that's the standard. In other words, judge, don't even waste your time letting this to go to trial, because even if they prove absolutely everything they claim, even if they introduce absolutely every piece of evidence and the jury believes it, I still win. So you're wasting judicial resources, precious judicial resources. That's what a motion for summary judgment is. It's a civil filing. This is not a criminal complaint. This is a civil complaint. This was a defamation complaint. The court reviewed the motion, the response, the reply, record evidence, and being otherwise advised, concludes the defendant's motion should be granted because Larry does not establish the elements of false statement, malice, and damages. In other words, we've looked at everything. We've considered everything in your favor. And the light most favorable to the non-movement. That's the standard. The light most favorable to the non-movement. It's I think it's Rule 56. Even if everything you say is true, you still lose. This is a wild complaint, though. This is a wild set of facts here. So the defendant made a joke. Bill Maher made a joke. I will show you the context of this. It's funny. Here's what he allegedly said. I'm not going to say the F word, but it's on here. I think maybe Laura Loomer's in an arranged relationship to affect the election because she's very close to Trump. She's 31, looks like his type. We did an editorial here a few years ago. It was basically, who's Trump blanking? Because I said, it's not nobody. He's been a dog for too long, and it's not Melania. I think we may have our answer this week. I think it might be Laura Loomer. She sued over that, saying, I'm not doing that with the president. And guess what? She lost. She lost. This is wild, though. The judge fillets her. It's almost like the judge is a Candace Owens fan and is upset with Laura Loomer because he goes through and points out absolutely everything that she did to make herself look like a lunatic during this case. The judge even goes through and says Loomer admitted she developed a reputation as one of the most controversial figures in American politics. She's pro-white nationalism, proud Islamophobe, a believer in biological hierarchy between men and women. Admitted in her book that her behavior was what led her to be banned from social media platforms, including Twitter. This is great too. Testified at her deposition. Like, this is great. The judge just sizzled her for no reason. He didn't have to say all this, or she. I don't know if it's a male or female judge. The judge could have left all this out, but it's so juicy. I'm glad he put it in here. I'm using he in a gender neutral sense because I don't know if it's a he or a she judge. Plaintiff testified at her deposition that as a result of her controversial opinions and before the Bill Maher episode aired, she was denied a job in the White House due to concerns on the part of Trump's inner circle. This makes Trump look bad too. March of 23, she had a private meeting with President Trump and his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, former Benjamin Netanyahu campaign manager, at which President Trump reportedly instructed Wiles to offer her a position on the campaign. That right there causes me to lose all faith in the President of the United States. He told Susie Wiles to hire Larry. The offer was withdrawn after it was reported in April 2023 that the president's aides feared that hiring her would set off a backlash. So she got blackballed by Trump's aides. Plaintiff believed she had a close relationship with President Trump. Testified she visited Mar-a-Lago at least 20 to 30 times for political events and met with President Trump 10 to 15 of those visits. This is where it gets really creepy. August 13, 2023, met with Trump at his private box at the golf club. The plaintiff posted recordings showing President Trump with her, telling his secretary, I love this girl. That was President Trump talking about Loomer. I love this girl. And inviting Loomer and her friends to come to his very private suite. Why is the judge putting all this in here? It makes everyone look terrible. Plaintiff gave him a hug, and while it's taboo to grab the president of the United States, Trump told Secret Service, it's fine, it's fine. After the meeting, plaintiff shared on social media a video of her and Trump in his private box in which she tells him, I love you. And then caption the post, best president ever, I love him so much. In a separate post, she wrote, he wanted me to sit next to him all day. It was the best day ever. I really love him with all my heart. This gets even weirder, guys. This does not make anyone in this look good. It does not make the president look good at all. It makes Loomer look like a psycho. Records undisputed that when the presidential campaign entered full swing, plaintiff was by President Trump's side. This is the 2024 campaign. She was with him in Miami, Minnesota, Nashville, and Iowa, where it was so cold that her hands were freezing, and President Trump grabbed her hand to warm it up. That is not a good look. At 2:53 a.m., after the last day of the Republican convention, plaintiff tweeted a video of President Trump in which he sees her in the crowd, points to her, and in response to her yelling, I love you, blows her a kiss. She goes on to yell, you're amazing, I love you. I just can't imagine the amount of fun this judge's staff had drafting this order. Like they had to be cackling while they were drafting this order. In the week leading up to the episode, this is before the Bill Maher episode, President Trump invited plaintiff to accompany him on his private jet 5 to 6 times, including to presidential debate and to a 9/11 memorial the next day. Plaintiff testified there was a media frenzy surrounding her travel with him, which is probably why Bill Maher wanted to do a segment. This is crazy. Here is some of the news coverage. A tweet from Mike Sington that got almost 4 million views saying, "This is why Trump is hanging out with Laura Loomer. Watch them with their hands all over each other at Mar-a-Lago. Note, he's married." And then referenced a September 24 tweet, popular theory going around and Loomer's having an affair with Trump. This is crazy. Crazy. Miami New Times published an article on September 13 titled Laura Loomer and Trump Sitting in a Tree, KISSING. Noted the speculation the two were a romantic item. OK Magazine published a similar article titled Donald Trump Accused of Having an Affair with MAGA Conspiracy Theorist Larry Loomer. Wife Melania remains MIA. Several images have been circulated on X showing Trump 78 getting handsy with the 31-year-old MAGA supporter. This is crazy. Anyway, I say all this to say this attack on Candace Owens takes on a new light in light of this. You got to remember, it's not just Trump. There are other people around Trump that influence what goes on around Trump. They mentioned Susie Wiles. There's also Sergio Gore, used to be at the Office of Personnel Management. He's now an ambassador, but still very influential in the circle. A phone call from either one of those that said you should attack Candace Owens would go a long way. I mean, I think it would put Laura Loomer in overdrive. Is that what's happening? I don't know. A phone call from Donald Trump that says attack Candace Owens would put Laura Loomer in overdrive. Because when you're saying all that kind of stuff on social media, you want to be seen as his girl. You want to be seen as his lackey. You want to be seen as having an intimate, special, not intimate sexual, but an intimate, special, close relationship with the president of the United States. That's what you're trying to leave in people's minds. You don't put all that stuff online if that's not what you want to leave. You don't post a video of the president blowing you a kiss and saying, "I love this girl." You don't tell people that the president grabbed your hands to warm them up in Iowa. Like if you're trying to let people know that you have something weird with the president, you might put something like that up. But if you're not, if you're trying to hide it or you don't have something weird with the president, and even if it happened, even if it's true, you wouldn't put that up. That's a private moment. Why would you tell people about it? Even if it was platonic and the president was like, "Oh, I feel bad for this girl. I have gloves. She doesn't have gloves. Here, let me warm your hands up." You wouldn't say it. And so I look at her attacks, particularly on Candace Owens, but on other people, as being an extension of this behavior, of being an extension of her trying to leave people with the impression that anything she says is because Trump wants her to say it, or anything she says is because Wiles or Gore want her to say it. I don't think the attack on, well, I don't want to go into all that. I don't want to go into it. But I think it's great that she lost. I'm sorry. I think it's great she lost. I hate that Bill Maher had to go through that. Speaking of lawsuits, I bring this up for a couple of reasons. One is, well, I'll go ahead and let me pull it up first, and then I'll tell you why I'm bringing it up. This is an op, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I'm bringing it up. This is an op. A federal grand jury has charged the Southern Poverty Law Center for wire fraud, false statements, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. If you're new to politics or you don't follow it closely, you may not have ever heard of the Southern Poverty Law Center. It's a very influential left-wing group. And what they do is they have hundreds of millions of dollars in offshore accounts. This is all accounted for. You can look at their 990s. You can read depositions they've taken. It was founded by a guy named Morris Dees, 30, 40 years ago, a long time ago. Morris Dees actually came and spoke at my law school. In order to get in to see Morris Dees, you had to go through metal detectors and get patted down. He liked to put off the image that he was a very hated, very dangerous, his life was very dangerous. That's the image he wanted to portray. This headquarters is based in Montgomery, Alabama. And what's funny about that is I lived there for a long time. And you would see Morris Dees all over town. You didn't have to go through a metal detector to get near him. You would just see him at a restaurant. And he was like sitting there with his wife. Now, there's all kinds of weird lawsuits and things around him. I don't want to go into all those. It's not here to character assassinate him. But the allegation here is that the Southern Poverty Law Center, so what they do is, this is the group that has the Hate Watch website. They'll go and they'll name people by name, or they'll name groups by name, and they will call you a bigot, an anti-Semite, a racist, a sexist. They'll call you any kind of name under the sun. And among people on the left, whatever the Southern Poverty Law Center says is like gospel. It's as if the Lord himself reached down and drafted the press release, reached down and drafted the website. And if you look very far, you'll find my name on their website in several places. So this is, they paint with a very broad brush. Anybody who has ever worked with any of these groups, who's not the Klan or anybody like that, but even just pretty much normal mainstream right-wing groups, like James Dobson, I think was listed on their page. Like any pretty normal mainstream right-wing group, they are labeled basically a domestic terrorist by the Southern Poverty Law Center. And so it was shocking to learn that between 2014 and 2023, over a 10-year period, the Southern Poverty Law Center paid more than $3 million to individuals associated with these extremist groups, the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Nation, the National Socialist Party, so basically the Nazis. This is a group that supposedly takes left-wing money to fight left-wing causes, and they were paying right-wingers. They were paying, not even right-wingers, they were paying extremists under their name, people that they've called out as extremists. They were paying them to go out and peddle extremism. Why? To make money. That's probably one reason, because their donations go up. If you're a group that exists to solve hate and there's no hate, guess what happens? No one's going to pay you any money. Why would I pay you money to solve hate if hate's solved? It's like if I'm paying you to run a dog pound and there are no dogs that need to be pounded. That didn't sound right. There are no dogs that need to be saved. I'm not going to continue paying you to run the dog pound. You're just sitting around all day. You're not doing anything. Like, I need to see you saving dogs if I'm going to give you money to run a dog pound. And same thing from a pro-life perspective. If I'm paying you to fight abortion and abortion becomes illegal, what am I paying you for? You can't get one. It's become illegal. And so that's the double-edged sword with these groups is you can only be so effective at your job. You can only be so effective because if you solve the problem, your donations dry up. Well, I think they got too close to solving the problem. And so they started going out and paying people. And the indictment lists specific payments made, not to specific people because they didn't name people's names, but specific events. You remember the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally? A woman died. There were tiki torches. This is where the president afterwards famously came out and said there were good people on both sides, and he was taken out of context and painted with a broad brush to make it look like he was saying that the Nazis or the Klan or the whoever else showed up, they were good people. Well, that's not quite what he was saying. But it turns out they paid the Southern Poverty Law Center, this deeply entrenched left-wing group, the group that puts out the Hate Watch website, the group that puts out all the press releases identifying the bad guy. They were paying the bad guy. And so when this news first hit, there was joyous, exuberant celebration on the right. I was cautious because I know how these people work. I didn't celebrate. I didn't celebrate. I don't find this cause for celebration. that the Justice Department would file criminal charges against them for money laundering, for raising money to a nonprofit, supposedly to fight left-wing causes, and then pay right-wingers to go out and cause problems. Is that illegal? Yeah, probably. Does that mean I want them to do it? No, not at all. I wish they wouldn't do it. But they've been doing this for years, and no one's ever gotten them before. This is an op. This is an op. Do you remember a few years ago when it broke that some money had been funneled from the Russian government through certain podcasters? Tim Pool got caught up in it. I think some of the money had gone to Tim Pool, maybe Benny Johnson, Dave Rubin. There were several big name podcasters with very large podcasts and very large reach. And there was an allegation, at least, from the government that those podcasts were getting money through back channels, offshore accounts, and multiple different transactions. But the money originated with the Russian government, I think, was the allegation. I'm trying to get this right, so don't freak out if I get a fact wrong. But it would leave the Russian government, and it would funnel through various organizations and end up in like Tim Pool's pocket. That's my best recollection of what happened. If I've got a small fact wrong, I apologize, and I'm open to correcting it, but I think it's pretty close to right. I think what's happening here with the SPLC, and I encourage conservatives to proceed with caution while you're celebrating this. I think what's happening is there's going to be an attempt to paint people like Tucker Carlson, like Candace Owens, like Dave Smith, some of these really large podcasts on what I would call the insurgent right, as engaging in this type of recipient of money laundering activity. We saw it play out with the Russian money scandal into Tim Pool and Benny Johnson and Dave Rubin and others. And now we're seeing it play out with the Southern Poverty Law Center. And I think the Trump administration is desperately trying to save the 2026 election, the midterms. And they've only got a few months left to try to convince people that the insurgent right that is bucking them on the Iran war is these people are bought and paid for by foreign actors, by bad actors, by the left or whatever. They've tried to put out these rumors. Oh, that Candace Owens, she just hates Trump and she just wants to take down Trump. She's really a radical leftist dressed up in sheep's clothing. What she's really trying to do is cause Republicans to lose the election. And that's what Dave Smith's doing, and that's what Tucker Carlson's doing. They're doing it because some foreign entity is paying them or some left-wing group is paying them. I don't believe that's true, for one. I don't believe that's true at all. But I believe this Southern Poverty Law Center thing is set up to put in people's minds that this is how things work. That these groups would not exist but for illegal money, illegal contributions, money laundering, foreign money, left-wing money. That's what I think they're setting up. That's what I think they're setting up. And so I think everybody should take one giant step back and say, duly noted, SPLC bad. Okay, next news story. If you go all in on this, I'm encouraging people, don't take this bait. If you go all in on this story, it may come back to bite you. Not because I think they'll ever be able to prove these people are taking this left-wing money or this foreign money. I don't believe it's the case. That's not why I'm saying it'll bite you. It will put in people's minds that this is how opposition to Trump works. It'll put in people's mind that this is how opposition groups are funded. And I don't think that's true. I think the opposition groups to Trump and the Republicans and the mainstream are people who don't want the FISA 702 rule re-upped. I think that's one of the major causes. I think it's people don't want to go to war with Iran. The Strait of Hormuz was open. Gas was $3. The economy was limping along, but it wasn't going down. We had plenty of nitrogen for our crops. We weren't at risk of starving to death in the next year. There weren't civilians being bombed all over the Middle East. I mean, we were in an okay position before you guys launched the Iran war. That's why people oppose you. That's why people oppose you. It's not because some left-wing group is paying them to oppose you. And I think if people jump all in on this SPLC story, I just advise people, take a step back, acknowledge it. Well done. Good work. I hope they're convicted. And then move on to the next story. Move on to the next story. because this smells like a setup. There's no way the FBI does this. There's no way the Department of Justice does this. There's no way, I think it's the Northern or Middle District or Northern District of Alabama. There's no way they do this without a blessing from the President of the United States. Without a blessing, at least from cabinet level officials for the President of the United States. And if you're getting that blessing, there's a reason why, and it's a setup, and it smells. It stinks to me. Because they could have done this at any time. Charlottesville was in 2017. President Trump was president from 2017 to 2021. You had 4 years to investigate these people. Why are you just now getting around to it? Oh, because now you have people you want to attack. Now you have people you want to attack. So again, guys, dial it back, dial it back, dial it back. Don't get caught up in these types of stories. And that's the only warning I can give you. Only warning I can give you. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to click notifications. I actually got my notification today. I sent YouTube my little YouTube contact. I sent a request the other day and I said, I'm not getting my own notifications. I'm not getting notifications for Candace. I'm not getting notifications for Liberty Lockdown. I'm not getting notifications for Colin. Like, why are my notifications not coming through? I've subscribed to all these channels. I've clipped notifications. Why am I not getting them? Guess what? Today I started getting them. I don't know if YouTube's playing games. I don't want to accuse them of that, but I sent them a request and said, I'm not getting the notifications. I'm concerned my listeners aren't getting these notifications because I keep hearing it. I get dozens, maybe hundreds of emails. I didn't get your notification. Comments, I didn't get your notification. So I will continue to reach out to them and make sure the notifications are going out. But now's my favorite part. Because now the parts I get to talk to you guys, the folks, the community. The great part of doing this has been getting to know some of you guys. We did bring on a new mod today. I don't remember the name off the top of my head. But we have we like to shake up the mod team a little bit every now and then. Just people do it a long time. It gets to be a lot of work, so we add people, rotate people out when they raise their hand and say, hey, I've had enough. So if you see a new mod out there, congrats to the mod team. They're fantastic. All right, here we go. Congrats on the top 50. God is projecting you forward and placing the truth at your feet to shine the light of truth on the world. You, Candace, and Tucker Carlson, the lights. I will say this too. I talked to Ian Carroll today. There's been a lot of concerns about Ian. I've gotten a lot of people, and you just mentioned several great podcasters. And I wanted to mention Ian Carroll. I talked to Ian. Ian is alive. He's well. Everything's great. He's safe. There's no concerns. He's busy. He's very busy. He's working on a lot of projects right now, a lot of really good projects that are going to bear a lot of fruit. And he's not had the time to stream that he's normally has. So he'll get back in the saddle before long. He's assured me. I told him I missed him. I miss watching the shows, miss learning what he has to share with us. So that'll come back. He's not gone forever, certainly, but he is just neck deep, he said, in projects and cannot surface to the air long enough to spend several hours on a stream. And he said he hoped everybody understood and he'll check back in soon. So if you've been asking about Ian, there's your update. There's your Ian Carroll update. Love watching you, Candace, Jesse, and others on 1.25 speed. How do I get my Netflix and Hulu to do that? I don't know. I don't watch Hulu, and I've never done Netflix at a high speed. What's funny is I watch my podcast at 1.25 or even 1.5, and I had them at 1.5 all day while I was working. And then I was watching Candace do her guest interview today, and I had it, and I thought, why is my phone broken? Like I had this thing on 1.5, and then I put it back on 1. I was like, no, that guy just talks really slowly. He's a great guy. That was a great interview. I didn't get to hear all of it because I had to start my show, I think, before they were done or near about the time, and I had to jump off and get ready. But man, he was deliberate. He was deliberate with his words. What a cool guy, though. What a cool story. Bear, we just adopted a 160-pound cane Corso. His name is Bear, but we call him Baron. I love you, Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. That's a great name. What is a cane Corso? Is that a big dog? Or is that like really a bear? Oh, man, that looks like a bear. Cane Corso. I've never even heard of such. Some of the pictures kind of look almost like a lab, and some of them look almost like a pit bull. What an interesting dog. 160 pounds, a lot of animal. Like, I got kids that don't weigh that much. I got a lot of kids that don't weigh that much. I got my mug Saturday. My sister and fellow listener got hers today or yesterday. It was so hard, not to say nothing. Christ is king indeed. Thank you, kind sir, for all you do. Well, thank you for that wonderful comment. Thanks for supporting the merch store. We will be rolling out some new designs here shortly, hopefully by the end of the week or early next week. So if you have a favorite slogan or design you're waiting on, it's in process. It's in process. My youngest just asked, Ugh, are we going to watch this guy again? The answer is yes, and we have been since November. Congratulations on milestones from the Natty. I tried a case in Cincinnati one time. What a wild case. Cool town. I fell in love with a little barbecue joint there called Montgomery Inn, and I ate there almost every day. I was there almost 3 weeks. I was there till the day before Thanksgiving, I think. I was supposed to be there 2 or 3 days. I ended up staying there 3 weeks. The trial was supposed to be a couple of 3 days. It ended up going more than 2 weeks. And every night I wandered over to the Montgomery Inn and ate barbecue, and it was phenomenal. Man, I loved that place. Loved it. Absolutely wonderful. So thank you. And yes, little one, they're watching that guy again. Go play with some Legos. So grateful for this podcast, man. What's your take on David Icke's stand on you, Candace, Ian, and Tucker? Have you seen it? Stay strong. I've not. I didn't know David Icke had commented on me. Did he comment on me in particular or just people in this crew? I don't know. I'll have to check it out. Where did he did he comment on the X? David Icke. Baron Coleman. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I'm being attacked though on Twitter. I see some attacks related to the news we covered tonight, but whatever. They'll get over it, won't they? Yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen what he said about any of them. I don't follow David Icke very carefully. Can you imagine EK joining Lori in those meetings for arms dealings and up talking the whole time? Also, were Tyler's lawyers Googled prior to the Big Bang? They were. Several of them. I haven't checked all of them, but several of them were. You should go back and watch those early shows. They're great. They're fantastic. I'm going to do a recap show on the Google Trends days on a day where there's not a ton of news breaking. I'll go back and do a recap show. But yeah, Tyler's lawyers absolutely were searched. Erika, what year did she say that was? 2016. So Erika would have been in her late 20s, about the time that picture was taken. So you guys have guns? These guns shoot straight, and they have all the gun stuff you need? Yeah, we have guns. Are you asking me? No, I'm just stating a fact. Are you asking me if you're stating a fact? No. I'm stating a fact that you guys have guns. I already answered. Yes, we have guns. I know you do. I'm just telling you. I can't imagine. I don't know. I don't want to say too much. Every day you're on, I'm blessed. On those days you aren't, I feel lost. A regular diet of barren is a necessity. Christ is king. Indeed. I need to put my schedule up somewhere. Maybe I'll put it on the YouTube page, like the cover picture or something. I need to put it up somewhere. And it changes. My 4-year-old immediately busted a move to your intro beat and said, "This is a good song. We love it." Christ is king. Christ is king indeed, and your 4-year-old sounds amazing. Sounds amazing, like a budding little, I don't know, Usher. Who's a little dancer? I don't know who's popular anymore. I'm old. I went to Usher because he was popular when I was in college. Baron Clips channel suggestion. Segment with Blake Bednar's. Video with Frank Turek sounding like a demon talking about Butch Hibbs. Also a video of clips of funniest comments. That's a lot of work. It's hard enough just to get the opening statements up there. No, we'll get the Clips channel up. And I mean, it's running. It's if you've not checked it out, I'll put the banner up. Thank you for mentioning it. You can go subscribe now to YouTube at Baron Coleman Clips. Right now, we're just putting the opens up there. We did put the Real Baron Podcast theme song up there, the dopest theme song in the history of mankind. So it's up there. But yeah, there's a lot of clips I need to put up there. If you guys clip anything and want me to put it up, give me a YouTube link to it, send it to me. I'll download it and put it up on the Clips channel. Like if you can find some way to do that, that would be great. I appreciate that. I'll be happy to put them up. It's making them. It's the problem. I have to put shows together. Andrew Pascadlo, second detainee, was cited St. George paper, April 12. Prosthetic arm man at Intermountain Health looking for CK. At 1 hour, 25 minutes of your episode 65, FBA says not to interview Andrew on dispatch. Is there a question there? Or are you just telling me? Gotcha. Thank you. My mommy me time. All 5 kids asleep, and I can watch you and Candace in peace. Sounds like a heavenly day, Edith. Sounds like a wonderful day. Gabby, thank you. I slept very poorly last night. Mrs. Coleman was out all night working. And it was, I don't sleep well in the bed alone. I didn't sleep well. I might have gotten 3 or 4 hours last night. So I'm hoping to sleep well tonight. So proud of you, Barone. I'm proud of you, Britt, the wound nurse. Thank you. Candace shows fire today, and it looks like she has a little baby bump. Does she? Candace expecting? She hasn't told me that. Congrats on top 50. Well deserved. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. That's very high praise. Thank you. Here's to cracking the top 50. Could not be more deserved. Bless you. Yeah. Coach said, how'd you do that in 100 shows? I don't know. I said it on X. Congrats, top 50. Thank you. No one deserves to be in the top 50 more than Baron. I finished Blacklisted by History from a suggestion of yours in an early episode. Loved it. Congratulations, Christ is King. Yeah, it's right here. This is a book I keep on my shelf to refer to often. It's a great read if you've never read it. Blacklisted by History. Baron, melanistic equal I have vitiligo. Oh, that's why you're melanistic, Fox Mama. Fox is my last name, but I'm gladly changing for my most awesome fiance. Mom of 3 with wonderful new stepson in 10 days. Congratulations, melanistic Fox Mama. You answered all my questions in one $5 super chat, so thank you. Baron, happy to catch a live so I can finally ask. Anytime you say plebes, I think of the book Lords of Discipline. Have you read it? I have not. Forgot entire message in my first chat. Low IQ here. Well, Gabby will allow it. No, I've not read that, but it sounds interesting. Any opinion on TR defense so far? The hearing was painful to watch. Are they compromised or just suck? Elizabeth Lane's episode was brutal. I don't share her opinion. I don't think they've done a particularly bad job. I think it's really early. Now, if they're going to concede gunshot, they're going to lose me. There's just too much evidence that the gunshot is not what caused his death. So we'll see on that. They still have time to win me back over on that issue. But other than that, I mean, they're raising a lot of really good issues. They're pushing the judge to make decisions. What more do you want out of a criminal defense team? I don't know. I mean, if you're looking for him to be Paul Newman, don't. Lawyers, that doesn't happen very often. Now, and I will say this. The prosecution wasn't too great either in that respect, but they seemed very prepared. They seemed professional. Congrats on cracking top podcast chart. I should have bought into RBP stock when I had the chance. There was no chance to buy. We're a buy high, sell high kind of operation. There was no chance to buy low. There's no chance to buy low. I don't even take advertising money. That's how low the stock is. Congrats on top 50. My kids, 10-4-3, recognize you and Candace since I watch every show and put their dad on too for the win. I will still be here when this is done and you decide to rag on how terrible these F1 cars are. Christ is King. They are horrific. I am contemplating not watching the rest of the season, and that'll be the first time in years, well more than a decade, that I've not watched every practice, every race, every qualifying. I just can't get into these cars. It's just boring. Watching a car lose 60 kilometers going down the straight is not entertaining to me. Watching them limp into turn 1 is not fun to me. So I don't like it. I did see they were updating the regs. Maybe they'll get a little better. Maybe I'll give them 1 or 2 more chances, but I'm almost done with these hybrid cars. If I want to watch electric cars, I'll go watch FE, Formula E. Yay, Johnny 2 times. Thank you, Veronica 1 time. Congrats. I've been making snarky comments since Google Trends. You have. I don't miss a live or a member show, and I love this wonderful community. So proud. Christ is King indeed. Love y'all. We love you more, Veronica 1 time. Ask St. Benedict and St. Michael to protect you from evil. Been here from the beginning. Love this content. Great thing about you is if I miss the first time, You will say it again. Jesus loves you too. Thank you, Kate. The key to learning is repetition. Rote memorization is not a bad thing. Our Candace is cray cray. I listen anyway to the chick with PP series. Oh, Becoming Brigitte. You rolled up, and we have the male version of Honesty and Integrity. Congrats on 49. Christ is King indeed. Yeah, I didn't even mention we cracked 275,000 subscribers. We'll wait for 300 to celebrate. Congrats, my first super chat, but had to give you proper props. I don't miss one of yours. My mom and I look forward to you and Candace. Well, I look forward to you, TLH04, first super chatter. Love the show. My wife and I always watch together. I love your tactful candor. I don't think I've ever been described that way before. Tactful candor. I'm going to allow it. Hold on. I have to add some Burt's Bees to the show here. I'm going to allow the tactful candor comment. I was at UVU with two of my teenage kids on 9/10. It was terrifying. Possible new show name, Real Baron Outfit. No, we're not changing the show name. Interesting. I'm going to read this Grumbler comment just because it's timely. This is from JoJo. Baron, it's me again. We just agreed on Sunday that you'd pop over to the Grumblers in between to not wait until the very end of the show to read our supers. Please, you have me here, and then you lose me at the rest of it. Your Grumblers are asleep by the end. Well, that sounds like a you problem. Put on a pot of coffee, JoJo. That is not my problem. That is your problem. But I'll take it into consideration. I didn't know Grumblers took Quaaludes. Congrats to the top 50. Shout out as the groom to be in 10 days to Melanistic Fox Mama. Thank you, Burger Boy Dad. Congrats on your pending marital vows. Thanks to you, Candace and Tucker. You inspired me to return to God. My wife and I visited an Orthodox church Sunday, first time in decades. Grew up Protestant, started catechism this week. Christ is risen. Indeed. That sounds like good news. I had a friend who was a Church of Christ preacher, and I worked with him. This was 20 years ago. And he was studying, thought he might want to be Catholic, but then decided he wanted to become Orthodox. And I said, well, why? I mean, they're basically the same thing. And he said, yeah, but I grew up in a little town in Alabama, and you never hear the Baptist preacher get up on Sunday morning and preach against the Orthodox church. And I was like, well, they preach against the Catholic church? He's like, every Sunday. Okay, I didn't know. Paranormal writer and YouTuber David Wilcock died at 53 of self-inflicted injury. There was an account by TMZ that said, he said on a podcast he'd had a rough week prior to his self-deletion. I saw that. I didn't include him because I actually watched that clip of him saying that, and it looked tragic to me. And he was a researcher. He just researched the paranormal. He wasn't a scientist. Meeting tonight. Thanks, Edge. We'll catch up. Quick step in to say congrats on top 50. Enjoyed you and Zach. Thoughts on Burkhart's 28 comment on the Blake Neff and Andrew Kolvet show. I don't like it, but not surprised. I think that might be a low guess. I think this trial could start even later than that. Because she said early 2028. I didn't show that clip, did I? I should. I'll show it later. Yeah, she said early 2028. And the reality is that's still pretty early. It's a capital case, guys. Any thoughts they could have used blanks? This would achieve the event narrative. Many thanks to Team Baron. It's crossed my mind. Love your show with Zach yesterday. Congrats on top 50. Exciting to see your work get the recognition it deserves. Keep going, Max. Christ is King. Indeed. Love AK. Duly noted. Thank you, Julie. Thank you for the kind words. Prayers for Corby Hall and family after exposing his story today about Victor Marks. Yeah, that was a touching show, honestly. Hi, Baron. Emailed you regarding social media marketing. Would love to help. I think we have the social media stuff down pat. So I appreciate it, though. Thank you. Praying to Pacific. I'm not fighting about this. Look, if you guys want to ask me my opinions on things, I'm happy to share. I'm not here to try to convince anyone of anything theological, and I'm certainly not here to. I didn't ask you your opinion. No offense. So thanks. Baron, we're asking for we're taking the advice and just going for our own podcast. 20 years late, but oh well, Christ is King. Cousin Tara, it's never too late. The best day to start something is today. Last night I had a very vivid dream. I believe I was shown that Charlie Kirk's body was consumed. I don't even know what consumed means. What does consumed mean? Like eaten by animals? Or eaten by people? Whoa, surely. Johnny Two Times. Name the movie. Chavez. I don't know that I can. Hold on, let me Google it. I don't know. All I get is some guy named Chavez E. Chavez. I don't know. I wish I could. Maybe if I put quotes around it. Chavez. Still not getting anything. That must be a really inside reference. I wish I could help you, Veronica, one time. You're the highlight of my day, B. Congrats on top 50. Can we get larger sizes in women's shirts or darker colors in the classic unisex tee? Some of us actually fit our knuckle size. Oh, gosh. Some of them don't just fit it yet, but they will eventually. I don't know. What size does it go up to? The unisex tee? Let me look here. What size does the unisex tee go up to? Classic unisex tee. It goes up to 5X. I don't know. That's a lot of X's. I will check on it, Don. I'll check on it. But 5's a whole lot of X's. I feel like I'd be complicit if we offered a 6 or 7X size, right? Like I'm okay. I don't know. I'll look into it, Don. I'll look into it. King Baron, I was devastated this morning. My boyfriend was using my Hold Please mug. Don't worry about 3 more. This will never happen again. Relationship saved. Hi to my daughter, Mal. I know she's here. I've got one right here. Hold Please. Yeah, you got this is such a good mug. Every house needs 2 in case one's dirty or someone's using it. You got to have a backup. Hey, Baron, first time super. Today is 1 year since my dad passed. It's been a hard day, but couldn't wait to get in here with our high IQ outfit. Christ is King. Melinda Sneed, I sure am sorry to hear that. And I hope you're doing well. I hope we've offered you a little joy, at least a little. Favorite food spot in Carlisle or Camp Hill, PA? I'm there every week. Oh, gosh, I hadn't been there in 20 plus years. So the Hamilton Inn, is it still there? The world famous Hachi Dog, is it the same? Hamilton Inn, Carlisle, Pennsylvania. That was my favorite while I was there. I don't even know if it's still there. We used to call it the H.A. Milton. And then there was a little bar that had pretty good bar food right on the main drag. I can't remember the name of it, though. And they made their own beer. That was pretty cool. I can't remember. It's been so long. So I know the Gingerbread Man is still there. It's got to be. We started all our nights out at the Gingerbread Man, and they had pretty good food. So you're making me miss it. I kind of want to go back now. I loved living there. That would be my guess. Evening, Sir Baron. Requesting prayers for favorable movement in my SSDI case. Just started ozone infusion therapy and praying for strength to make it to appointments and that it helps my body start to produce energy for basic function at least. Thank you. Christ is King. I will pray for you, certainly. Fighting Mechphus. I've never prayed for a Mechphus before. This will be the first. But certainly I will. These disappearances make me think of DUMBs. Lots of wilderness and tunnels in New Mexico connecting labs and Air Force bases. There's also Zora Ranch. I don't know what DUMBs are. Doesn't make me think of them because I don't know what they are. Giglio Brady List site found B. Tatum on there with Tucson PD. Color me not shocked. Congrats on top 50. Christ is King. What's the Elio Brady list site. Giglio? Is it Giglio? Gulio? Oh, impeachment disclosure. I haven't heard of this. 2 lists involving law enforcement expert witnesses who required disclosure. I didn't know there was a interesting. Apparently Giglio material. I'm learning new things every day. Giglio material is a subset of Brady, specifically requiring the disclosure of impeachment evidence that undermines the credibility of government witnesses. I learn new things every day. Thank you. You've enlightened me. I'm edified. I feel like Lionel using big words. Congrats, Baron, on breaking top 50. Well deserved. I appreciate all the time you so clearly put into these quality episodes, just teaching the world and expanding perspectives one opening statement at a time. Jesus is king indeed. Thank you. Very kind praise. Riddle me this. Batman, 1 entrance, no exit, fragments only. Interesting. Didn't realize we were dealing with disappearing bullets now. Okay, maybe Charlie Kirk had some low-key Superman going on. Yeah, I really wish I could find out what was in that seat. Was the cause of death clearly determined? That should be the starting point. ATF report is a distraction, IMO. I don't know. We haven't seen the autopsy report. Deleting my comment instead of letting Baron address it like a big boy is antithetical to what his channel supposedly represents. Shameful. Deleting my comment instead of letting Baron address it. Someone delete it? Was it polite? Hilarious. Much watched the CK show episode yesterday. New TR evidence looks damning at 1813. Their faces when they asked a question, the attorney terrified. You will not be disappointed. I wish you'd have just told me what it was. That would have been a lot easier. Congrats on a big milestone. Please tell this humble viewer that Go Watch Beaches merch is ready. Oh, I forgot about Go Watch Beaches. We got to make that. I forgot about it. Jesse is obviously not watching live. He's texting me to ask if I'm free for 5 minutes. I am not. I'm on a live. I'll call when I get off. We got one fan we know is not tuned in. Oh yeah, Go Watch Beaches merch. I've got to get this order put in here. Where is Nurse Casey? Where is Nurse Casey? Go Watch Beaches. Ah, there it is. Go Watch Beaches merch. I like that. I like that a lot. I got to turn the sound off. Thank you. Thank you. Baron. Love you. Just wanted to express my gratitude to all who've been praying for my legal, civil situation. God is so good. I prayed, fasted, and surrendered all to him. Continued till October. Christ is king indeed. That sounds like wonderful news. Thank you for sharing your victories with us. It's dry blood, not fragments. Yeah, that's what I wondered. You're talking about the little black flakes in the back. That's what we that's what I kind of suspected. They were so paper thin. I just wondered. So if Charlie's head was laying closest to the door near our view and someone was sitting over him, shoving in his neck, is that how you get a neck of steel? Wow. That would be a neck of lead. Whoever ordered or permitted that car not be fully searched, inspected, preserved, but let it go instead should be held responsible for negligence. I can think of worse penalties than responsible for negligence. Regarding seat fragments, it looks like someone wiped the blood in the crevice, collected this material. I would guess there was more at one time. Why would there be more at one time? The car shouldn't be bothered. I wouldn't think there would be more. I recall Harpole saying he had his hands inside Charlie Kirk's wound in car, perhaps tampering. Look, I'm not going to accuse Brian Harpole of doing anything wrong because I don't know. I wasn't in the car. All I can say is I agree with you. He said he had his hands in the neck. I will speculate that perhaps would raise the possibility that the wound could be tampered with should someone be so predisposed to do it, whether it's him or anyone else that had possession of his body at any given time. But I would also say if he truly was trying to stop the bleeding, I mean, you'd have to get your fingers in there and find the source, right? But Baron, you should know that Coach was texting the other day on a live stream. Do with that what you will. I hope Proverbs 27:17 is like, thou shalt forgiveth thy friend for talking to text on live stream. That's what I hope it says. Christ is king indeed. Know nothing about bullets, but it is believable they only found 4 fragments in Charlie from a bullet that allegedly fragmented his body. Only 4. Well, that's all they had in the evidence report. I don't know what they found. I mean, that's probably going to come from the autopsy report, which we haven't seen. Congrats, Baron. Prayer request, please, for my Aunt Cece. Just diagnosed with ovarian cancer, recovering from surgery, starting chemo. Thanks to be a part of this incredible community. Thank you. Well, thank you. I will pray for Aunt Cece. Yeah. So much spoliation, the car, the scene, the necklace, and more. Defense, please bring a motion. Bring a motion, please. Yes, I agree. Yeah, it's bad. Jill of all trades. High-powered attorney commenting in. Maybe those little lead fragments were the mints in that container that was handed to Brian Harpole on 9/10. That's interesting. I hadn't considered that. I don't even know that they were lead fragments. I'm just saying, I'm asking. I'm not telling, I'm asking. This is kind of what they look like to me. What do you think? That, again, I don't want to be mistaken for what I'm saying. Our neighbors have 2 miniature horses out front. You live next to Ben Shapiro? Does his wife ride a little miniature horse? And I've never seen his wife. I don't know if she rides a miniature horse or not. My 4-year-old twins point to them every time we drive by. I told them that they're Ben Shapiro's horses. I guess you do live next to him. So now they yell, it's Ben's horses when they see them. It makes my day every time. That's awesome. Man, parents who manipulate their kids to say cute things, A+ parenting in my book. Looks like the remnants of the busted necklace to me. Do we know what his necklace was made of or a possible necklace replica? I think the necklace was steel. I don't know about the charms, but I think the necklace itself was steel. A very sturdy necklace. What was that metal piece wedged in the corner of the seat? Cell phone, screwdriver, just a part of the design of the seat? Let me look. I think so. Yeah, that's just a design of the seat. I think. My guess is, yeah, I don't think that's metal. I think that's plastic. And it's 2 pieces you could be talking about. One is the piping that comes down on this like the seal of the plastic seatbelt cover, and the other looks like it could be the metal that holds the seatbelt together. I don't think there's nothing there to me. I don't see anything else. Google AI, fragmented lead can come out of a gunshot wound along with blood, especially in the immediate aftermath of the injury, or if the fragments are in soft tissues near the skin. See? That's why I bring it to you guys. I didn't know that. So it's possible they are lead fragments, but they weren't there placed nefariously, that they were just a product of the wound. Interesting. B, my stomach dropped with the metallic fleck review. Harpole's talk of packing the wound with 36 feet of gauze feels like a confession. Again, I don't know what Harpole did. I wasn't in the car. I can't say what he did. I look, there are some people that everybody wants to just condemn. Harpole's one of them. Rick Cutler's one of them. No, they're probably the 2 most condemned that I hear. Dan Flood's another one, but he did do this. I mean, come on, guys. What else is he doing? I don't want to look. I'm just asking. Who's stealing third, Dan? But I wasn't in the car. I don't know what they did inside the wound. I just know what he said. And what he said raises the question when I see that in the seat. Hello, ma'am. I mean, sir. Been creeping on your channel since day one. Thanks for all your hard work and congrats on hitting Spotify top 50 after only 100 episodes. Thank you. It's ma'am. Why did you say hello, ma'am? I mean, sir, I don't know. Oh, are you referencing when I was at Walmart in college and I tapped on the person's shoulder and I said, hello, ma'am. And she turned around and I was like, sir, ma'am. And I just turned around and walked off. Because if so, that's a deep reference. If not, I have no idea what you're talking about. But if so, you really watched the heck out of these episodes because that was like a passing reference months ago. Hi, Baron. Silver stuff on seat could be soldering metal from inside lapel mic. Maybe. Are you calling the Rode mic a lapel mic? I mean, maybe. My brain didn't go there, but I don't know what it is. I believe the SUV photos were taken 2 or 3 days later, so could be dried blood flakes. Yeah, but those look metallic to me. Like particularly the metal, like the single metal ball on the seat. Let me pull that one back up. Like that doesn't look like dried blood to me. Let me pull this back up real quick. Like I see what you're saying with this stuff over here. That's obviously some sort of bodily fluid there. But that looks like a little piece of metal. I don't know what that is. And there's no blood anywhere around it. So I don't, I don't know. But I'm not saying it is because I don't know. If I knew, I honestly wouldn't have pulled it up and asked. I don't know. Adriana, why hasn't defense made a case to the judge? Unfair trial. Crime scene wasn't taped off. It got paved over. Well, it was paved over 4 or 5 days later, but yeah, pretty close to the next morning. Cops didn't take CK's cell phone or TPUSA's cameras, and the car was sold. Yeah, I'd be having a panic attack if I was the defense lawyer. I would be filing motions on this. Like, you're going to instruct the judge that all this evidence could have exonerated my guy, right? And that they're allowed to consider that. You're going to give them a spoliation charge on all this stuff, right? Van door that opened, did they create the fragments from a bullet being shot into that van and then collected and passed off to the ones that took CK to the hospital? The plastic could have been from what they shot into. Oh, I don't know about all that. That seems pretty complex. Why wouldn't you handle all that ahead of time? I don't know. Laughter a bit last show when you accidentally called the SUV the getaway car. Well, wait. Depending on where the crime took place and who was involved, it might have been. I wish you could help Tyler's lawyers with the investigation. Yeah, but I can't. Your Majesty, King Baron, finally. I've been called king all day. Wow, you just put something that goes way past reasonable doubt up for us right there. The FBI and state police should be charged with negligence for not saving that car. I don't know if it warrants a negligence charge. But I honestly do believe the jury should be able to look at these photos and the defense should be able to say, it looks like fragments to us and we have no car. Like they got rid of the car. So judge, tell them they're allowed to consider that evidence could have been collected and exonerated my guy. And they're allowed to draw any conclusion they want from that. I think they should get the charge. Not metal shaving. Seat spot looks like where blood pooled up and went through the seams of the seat. It does look like, I mean, there is some blood pooling around there, but does that look metal? That's what I'm wondering. And does that explain the metal looking thing all off by itself where there's no blood? So I thought through all this. Like Daisy and I talked about it several times today, looking at these photos. And we even looked up like all these dry blood blots that you can find on Google Images. I was trying to think of anything, but it looks like metal to me. It's shiny. It's gray and shiny from what I see. But I don't know. But I appreciate your input. Dana on the American Discourse News and Rogue Dissent Live said, if no exit, then all fragments would be in body and the bullet would be traceable. I don't know who that is, but I believe her. I don't know why, but the scrapes in the car disturbed the hell out of me. It's a really bad gut feeling. That's why I showed them. I don't know why either. I had the same feeling when I looked at them. I thought, that looks morbid for me for some reason. I mean, it might just be people getting out of the car and slamming the car shut, but they were like scratches. And that seems like, I don't know. Like you hear these horror stories about scratches on the inside of a room where people were trapped or whatever. The mic could have had logo printing, etc. I'm leaning towards exploded mic fragments. However, you would expect the frags in the seat crease would have mic frag too. The black paint inside looking like car paint. No way that lead came out of him, 0%. If we assume it's lead, I don't think it came out of him either, but I don't know because I would think it would be like chunky with blood. And again, let me pull it back up. If it's blood, if it's dried blood, this is kind of my thought on it. Wouldn't there be like big, chunky, thick things of blood like there's a little bit perhaps down here, but wouldn't that be all over the place? Like that looks like metal to me, guys. I'm sorry. It just does. And I would think it would be like that there would be like this kind of, see this stuff right here in the middle? I think there would be this kind of stuff all over that. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how it works. That's why I brought it up. I don't know. List is wrong. Candace belongs first. No way BS is above you. I mean, I was just happy they put me on there. I'm just happy to get an invite to the dance. I'm not going to complain. I love them. Totally staged, bro. So they cleaned up all the blood and then sprinkled the fragments on top of the seat. Do we know where the missing 3 photographs are and who sent these to TCO? Things aren't adding up. I know I've seen all the 6 photos. That's what. One of them I showed you today. It was just heavily redacted. I've seen the other 2 as well. They showed nothing. All they show is the front of the car and the back of the car. There's nothing at all visible. There's nothing. That's why I didn't bother showing them. There's nothing at all pertaining to the case. Like there's no evidence. There's no anything. It just shows that it's a 2024 Yukon and it shows the license plate. And I wasn't sure about showing the license plate on here because people get all weirded out anytime you show anything remotely personal. So I didn't show that one. And the other one just shows the grill and the lights. So those are the photos. The other one is the one I heavily redacted. So those would be pictures 4 and 5, the front and back. And the 6th photo is the side of the car. And I just heavily redacted it. There's a reason, but I don't want to go into it. King B, been waiting for an opening statement like the one you just did. I personally have fears about the disappearance of scientists. What are they going to drop on us next? 2020 disease may be a walk in the park. Christ is king indeed. Don't have anxiety about it. On scanner, there was chat about a motorbike accident with a car at UVU roundabout, then calls on the scanner to stop bike. It was going south in North Lane and could be suspect. Was also bike at event right as CK began. I don't recall hearing that. Do you have a timestamp or something? Thank you, Riley's. James Lee did a video about crane being used for flag over DT and Butler, still not released to owner because investigation. I think odd. The car that took CK to hospital sold 3 months later. Yeah. It is weird. Guys, it's not normal that a car in that investigation would already be cleaned up. I just don't think it's normal. I'm sorry. I understand why you redacted the door scratch photo. I understand you redacted. Why did you redact? I just said that. If it's an ordinary door, why hide it? And I also explained I'm not going to tell you why I redacted it, but I did. And all it shows is unmolested paint and unbroken windows. But there's a specific reason I did, and trust my judgment on that. He's supposed to be digging up fraud of tax dollars. Who? What about putting Charlie in the blank picture frame? Certainly more impactful. I'm not taking suggestions on who to put in the picture frame. I'm leaving it blank for effect. It's drawing your eyes to it, and it's serving its purpose. Congratulations on top 50. Thank you. I appreciate that. Congratulations on a great comment. SUV looked like it was hit in a hit and run. There's no fenders or bumpers damaged, but the scratches look like there was some damage. I don't know. Maybe they're not scratches. Maybe they're just like dirt, but they look weird to me. That's why I showed you. Looks like a collision of some sort on the outside of the SUV, and all those fragments in the car look like bullet fragments from the pictures you showed. So to me, they were staging a bullet in the wound and spilled. That's an option. I don't know. That's an option. Those pieces in the back of the car look like black plastic shards, similar to the John Bray theory of exploding Mike. That was my initial reaction, but they look awfully thin to me, but I don't know. Erika Kirk and JD can't be seen together on stage because they're the same person, so she had to cancel. Christ is king, indeed. Go Max. You forgot about the weird hug, hand in the hair? You forgot about that? Grieving black leather pants? Grieving widow pants? Thank you, Holly. Congrats on being in the top 50, good sir. You're inching closer to number 1. I have no sights on number 1. I'm just, like I said, just happy to be invited. First ever super chat and proud first time member. You are a true inspiration. Well, you're a true inspiration. Middle Tennessee strong. Oh, and you're local. Nice. Howdy, neighbor. But Baron, my favorite humble host, me and my family love you. My overactive imagination makes me think they shot him with something that stunned, paralyzed him, and then actually killed him in the car. I mean, he had a gaping wound on his neck at the scene. But I'm telling you, he did have those 2 dots on his arm, and I don't know what those are about either. Maybe check Google Trends with DT. Something happened to him. Wouldn't Vance become president? And could he give Erika VP? Yikes. Well, anyone that, so let's take it in order. First, Google Trends on Donald Trump would show nothing because he's so famous that he's going to have a zillion searches every day from everywhere. So that wouldn't show much. If something happened to him, Vance would become president in all likelihood. I mean, assuming status quo. Could he give VP Erika? No. He can nominate Erika. The VP is actually confirmed, and she would have to survive a confirmation. I guess EK got what she always wanted, to be rich and famous. Man, there was something we were going to cover today and decided not to. It would blow your mind even more. Maybe we'll cover it. Gosh, I want to. I'll have to regroup tomorrow and see if we can put it out. I just wanted Candace, and she mentioned speaking to an organizer at the University of Georgia who told us the actual reason Erika didn't show up was because the crowd was too small. We knew it. Truth. Yep. I called it the night it happened. Hello, Baron. Just popping in to say Erika and JD both look alike, but JD looks like that Michael Aquino guy. Sus to me. Yeah. They both have that little weird eyebrow thing. Of course, I kind of have it. So, and I'm not related. No relation. Promise. Promise. Sir Baron, please accept this $2 Tilly tax. Did you guys hear her earlier? She was going crazy at my door. I apologize. Serious business. Hi, Baron. We tried, but can't figure out what time the New York Times put out the rifle picture. It was the New York Post. Tyler references it in his text. Could it have been after he turned himself in? No. No. I have it on my timeline. I don't know if I could find it that quickly, though. I want to say it was like 8 or 9 a.m. the next morning. But I honestly don't remember off the top of my head. But no, it was not after he turned himself in. It was the New York Post, not the New York Times. Would love to hear what you think on what Candace just posted on X regarding Georgia's chapter resigning tonight due to all the lies TPUSA has told. Well, let's go find out about that right now. I did not know I was on the air. Real Candace Owens, what are we tweeting about? Oh, breaking news. You heard it here. Well, you didn't hear it first because 66,200 people have already seen it, but you heard it here. Okay, yeah. Come on. Make it where I can share. There we go. This is from our principal. The president of Turning Point's University of Georgia chapter will be resigning later this evening due to the internal treatment and subsequent public lies told by Turning Point executives surrounding Erika Kirk's last-minute cancellation of the event with Vice President J.D. Vance. In short, the excuse peddled by their public relations team was pure fiction, as we all suspected. No, the left was not buying up tons of reservations, as told by Andrew Kolvet. To the contrary, the team knew weeks before there was little interest in the event for a variety of reasons, and Erika's safety was never an issue. Beyond this, the questions at the event were entirely faked. Erika, as we reported, was already in Georgia. Now, both the Secret Service and the Georgia chapter president is claiming that Turning Point not only lied, but rather extraordinarily blamed the general public. I'm adding general there. Blamed the general public because Erika didn't want to hit the stage. More to follow. And here is the more. I can't explain how much it breaks my heart to see what this organization has become. Fully elitist, everything Charlie resented. Do you know how many small, half-filled events me and Charlie did early on? Charlie would have been on that stage. It wasn't about crowd size to him. If this is true, I don't know which way it is on your screen. It's on this. It's this way to me. So I think it's this way to you. If this is true, I almost think Vance has to be pressed to resign. Not only Andrew Kolvet, obviously, and Erika, obviously. But even Vance blamed us. And I don't see how you survive blaming the people you supposedly represent and basically calling people, terrorists. Putting people's lives in jeopardy. Do we have to pull up what he said? If I'm Vance right now, I am beside myself. Furious. Well, apparently he's not. He's going to Ames, Iowa with her. They're going to lie there too? Andrew, if you're listening, I want to say something. I wasted a lot of hours praying for you. A lot. And I wasted a lot of my audience's hours asking them to pray for you. I thought deep down you were a decent person. If that reporting is true, if what the TPUSA Georgia chapter president is saying is true, and you lied on stage, and Erika was actually there and it wasn't a travel issue, you not only put your soul in jeopardy by lying flat out to the public, but then you enlisted countless Twitter people to harass, intimidate, lie on your behalf. Go to hell. And I don't mean that figurative. I mean literally. I don't mean go to hell. I mean go to hell in a very temporal sense. You are a scumbag. You are an absolute scumbag. You are trash, dude. You are total trash, if that's true. To blame the people out here tracking taxpayer dollars, which is what we're doing when you guys are flying around. You're not paying taxes on that money. You're using it as personal income. You're flying on Gulfstream 5s and you're flying all over the country at $100,000 a round trip. It should be credited to you as income because you don't have to fly a Gulfstream 5 anywhere. So in a sense, I'm subsidizing you. And I have a right to look at your friggin' flights and figure out where you're friggin' going. And if that woman was there and you put the vice president of the United States on that stage to lie to my face, to hell with you, you piece of trash. To hell with you, you piece of trash. Now, I qualify all that by saying maybe the Georgia president's lying. Maybe Candace misunderstood what was happening. Maybe she got the message wrong. But you know the truth. You knew that. You knew, Andrew, that doctor did not say those things to you. You knew that doctor didn't say those things to you about the Superman neck, and you freaking lied about it. And you knew Erika's travel was not in jeopardy. She was partying it up with the first family. And allegedly, at least according to the Georgia chapter president, as I read that tweet and understand it, may have been in Athens. Not in any jeopardy. But to pawn this off and make her some kind of victim like she's in danger, to hell with you, man. You are a piece of trash. You're a lying, conniving piece of trash, if that's true. Because you blame the people who look at these flights. I'm no danger to you, bud. I'm just curious where the taxpayer money's going. And it's taxpayer money. You guys are not claiming that as income, I don't think. I doubt you're claiming all these as income, which means I'm subsidizing you. So I got a friggin' right to see where you go. I got a friggin' right to see what kind of elite jets you guys fly around in. You don't want me to look? Start paying taxes. I promise you. You start flying coach, I don't care where you go. But as long as you're taking round trips that are 2 and 3 times the amount the average American makes in a year, I'm going to look. I'm going to look. I'm going to look and I'm going to judge. And I'm going to think you're elitist and out of touch and a liar. And that may not weigh on you much right now, what some 2-bit podcaster outside of Nashville thinks of you. You may not care. You may think it's funny. Ha ha ha, I'm a millionaire and this is just some redheaded stepchild podcaster in Middle Tennessee. You may not care right now, but buddy, one day you're going to have to answer for all this. You're going to have to answer for all this. You're going to have to come face to face with who you are one day, what you've become. Go to hell. If that's true, go to hell. In the figurative sense, I want you to go to heaven. I want you to repent. But in every figurative sense, go to hell. Huge fan. Finally a member. You enlighten me with your knowledge. Can justice be possible if main suspects are top elites that can blackmail everyone? And just lie to your face and employ the vice president to lie and to attack Candace and podcasters who are just trying to get to the bottom of who killed Charlie Kirk, how and why? Is that what you're asking? No, justice can't be possible in that situation. In that situation, we're ruled by friggin' demons who lie at will. Right? I think the charge was in his seat. Charge went up his back and out his neck. Thoughts? Anyone consider that? No, I didn't consider that actually. And I see no evidence of that, but I don't know. Find out where the detail took place. I will go there and find out how they empty the tanks. I'll bet with a metal detector we can find a trace. Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to prove it came from that car. But that's interesting. We probably could find out, actually. My daughter turns 8 tomorrow. She runs in and tells my wife when she sees you live, happy birthday, Ella. Happy birthday, Ella. I hope you didn't just hear me tell Andrew to go to hell, but I was really angry. If that's true and they're just lying to people, I'm so angry. This is me angry. Thanks for clearing up the door handle frame. Of course, Allie. I know you're doing everything in good faith. I'm not. That's why I didn't accuse anybody. I just wanted to show a clear picture. I'd never accused you of doing anything in bad faith. Those fragments don't look like they have any blood. What about the blurred out window? I did a live stream. We think the window may have been broken. Possible fragments struggle. There was no broken window, I can assure you. The window was also blurred out for a particular reason. But thank you for chiming in. I'm late. Can the pieces in the picture and the pieces found in the CK be part of his necklace? Christ is king. I think if they're tested and be shown to be lead, no, they can't be part of the necklace. The pieces in the seat, we don't know where they are. That's the problem. I wouldn't be so frustrated with the situation if we knew where they were. But no, the pieces in his neck, unless they're stainless steel, they're not going to be part of the necklace. He's not wearing a lead necklace around. Got on too late yesterday, but also saw the guy post CO home address 3 times in chats while he was live. Tried to message her. That guy's a scumbag, and I don't even know what else to say. I mean, look, I'll be honest. I will confess, we've accidentally posted people's addresses, and then we go back when we're notified and edit it out. I don't intend to put anyone's address up there. They usually send a notice after I get off air and like, hey, at this timestamp, and I'm like, oh, I thought that was a business address. I had no idea there was a home address. Happy to go change it. Just let me know. And wouldn't have done it if I did know. So, but if you're purposely doing it in comments, you're a scumbag. That's all there is to it. When it comes to Loomer and Trump, the movie Misery comes to mind. She's about that nuts. I think Candace likened it to Fatal Attraction. That may be more accurate. Our homo host said Larry Loomer twice so far. Yeah. I know it's an effective attack. She hates it. But Baron, is there evidence the bullet fragment was found in CK's neck? We've not seen that. We just saw there were fragments as evidence. We did not know where they were recovered. I guess I assumed they were from the neck, but I don't know. Also, is there evidence there was any other bullet fragments? If not, how could there only be one fragment? Make it make sense. So there were 5 total. There was the jacket fragment, and there were 4 pieces of lead fragment. I don't know if you saw that ATF report. I put it up, but you're welcome to look for it. It's out there. So there were actually 5 total fragments listed in the ATF report. Suppose he was in her private I'm not reading that. It's a family show, Disaster Media. We'll just assume he didn't say all that. My niece is an aero engineering major and minor physics and engineering at Princeton honors program. I beg her, no NASA. While I learned of NASA history and what is going on now, she's brilliant, and they've already tried contacting. Well, let me say this. My cousin worked at NASA. He was a robotics engineer. And he's brilliant. Oh, my gosh. Good looking, smart. He's got it all. Rich. It's incredible. And he started at NASA. He worked there for a decade and a half or more, maybe. Then eventually went out on his own and founded a company and took it public, and the rest is history. But there are good people that work there. I mean, there are some people that are probably scumbags that work there, but there are good people that work there. Trump and Jigsaw is beyond tragic. Talking about Laura. This JDEK, please no thanks. Could you imagine if this level of grade A web sleuthing had existed during Hillary Clinton's early political rise? The Whitewater scandal would have looked a lot different. Could Loomer be his long-lost daughter? Oh, I hope not. That's creepy. Of course, this is an op. You helped train us to spot them. We are high IQ legitimately because of that awareness. Thanks for that education. Deducation. You're very welcome. Very welcome for that deducation. How can they get rid of the vehicle that transported a high-profile person's murder before trial? How does that make sense? I ask myself that same question all the time. Every time I want to see something in the car, I will ask myself that same question. Phew, glad I was able to snag an interview with the humble host before the top 50 news broke. Congrats, Baron. Very well deserved. In 100 episodes is an incredible accomplishment. Zach, that interview with you was great. I've not watched it again. I do want to go back and watch it, though, just because we covered a lot of ground. But thank you for hosting me. Thank you for having me on. And thank you for coming on my channel last Friday. So Zach's great. If you've not checked him out, he's on, I think, Monday through Friday. Mid-afternoon, depending on which part of the country you live in. David Wilcock allegedly unalived himself the other day. He was a ufologist. Owned an airport in Niagara Falls, was into propulsion systems and zero-point energy. Recently quoted saying, "What a wild time to be alive." Wild indeed. Wild indeed. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Captain Hot Pants. You got to be really confident to name yourself Captain Hot Pants. EK's first appearance on TPUSA show, 9/12 versus Memorial on 9/21. Her blonde roots are fresh. I thought she really sat through a 4-hour hair appointment. First sign she was sus. Yes, I'm blonde and notice. Doesn't sound like you are blonde if you have to go get your hair blonded. Sounds like you are not. Yeah, I didn't notice her hair. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I do not dye this color. It just came this way. Baron, what are your thoughts, if any, Peter Singer's Famine, Affluence, and Morality is an interesting argument that I don't know anything about all that. I've never heard of it. I appreciate it, but I don't have thoughts on it because I'm not familiar with it. Baron, my husband asked if they could pick the mic like a pipe bee. Pack the mic with shrapnel. Explaining the explosion, metal shrapnel, no shot. No, I don't think so. Because a pipe bomb is a spherical charge. It goes in every direction. And you would see that on the shirt. Like the shirt would come way out, right? I don't think that's what that was. I think it would have to be directional. Congratulations on the top 50. Our humble host deserves top 10. Why are we stopping there? Huh? I don't think I'm good enough to be top 5? I'm kidding. Grand jury, let's get Baron to top 10 status. Stat! Christ is king indeed. Thank you. In my opinion, fragments indicate placement. No bullet. Christ is king. Well, assuming that's what they are. Again, I'm not saying that's what they are. I'm asking what you guys think. There's a scratch in the base of the captain chair with a bloodstain and fragments. I have this Yukon. It would take something sharp to create that scratch. Could be nothing, but it's interesting. Allow me to look a little closer. Scratch in the captain's chair. There's a scratch in the base of this captain's chair. I don't know what the base is. Like where your butt is, the seat. I don't see any scratches. But I admit I may not be looking in the right spot. Thank you. I'll check it out. I believe you, Yukon owner. I was just listening to Candace, and she's reporting on the cropped angle of the back camera. Could the paving stones be covering something in the ground that is part of how CK was muck ducked? Yes, office fan. They absolutely could be. I bet someone dispatched their weapon into the cushion of the van. Then they grabbed Fragments and started pushing Fragments in his neck. I bet there's a bullet hole in those cars. I think that would be outlandish. I would be shocked if that's true. And I've seen no evidence of a bullet hole in these seats. And how could you stop it from going through the floor of the car? Wouldn't there be like a hole in the floor of the car? Congrats on Top 50B in 100 episodes. Knowing you and Candace and Tucker are out here keeping it high IQ for us, as they say, realize. I've never heard that, but I'm going to steal it. Can I steal that? Critical thinking and discernment is needed. If anyone says, where'd you pick that up? I'm going to be like, Raging Storm Cloud. Or Rag in Storm Cloud. I'm not 100% sure which. But it's one of those two, and that's where I got it. Any opinion on TR defense so far? The hearing was painful to watch. Are they compromised? Just suck? Oh, I already read that. No opinion. Candace guest today cooked Victor. Christ is King. The parts I saw, he did. He did a good job. You get a $5 tip for pronouncing the word nuclear correctly. I cringe every time I hear someone say nuclear. Don't listen to Joe Kent. I like Joe Kent, but he pronounces it like George Bush does. And that's okay. I'm going to allow it, Joe. Candace's claim was almost at the very end. I believe you. Cheesehead here, sending love from Minneapolis. Christ is King. When did Cheesehead be in Wisconsin? Or you relocated to the Twin Cities? Use that other app to send alerts when you're about to go live. YT blocking me from saying the name. You talking about X? I do. Well, I don't about to go live, but I usually put it up an hour or two ahead of time on X. Sign up for notifications there as well. The guy in Candace mentioned a subsonic 300 blackout. Harpole said on Sean Ryan he heard the gunshot first. That can only happen if it's subsonic. Thank you for all your work. He did, in fact, say that. He did, in fact, say that. A blackout round would change everything. If there was a 300 blackout round, particularly at distance, to begin with, the skill that would take would be incredible. But previous evidence room manager here, the evidence handling this case is preposterous. Typical of the FBI. Ask me how I know. How do you know? I believe you, and the evidence seems to be handled pretty horrifically. Congrats on Top 50. Christ is King. Thank you, Allison. Christ is King indeed. Sorry, but it's Buckle, like Buckle the belt. No, it's Buckle. Former RN will put money on it. Need to ask for your money back from your nursing school if they taught you it's Buckle. Buckle. On this show, Buckle. The guy Candace interviewed tonight had a great point about if there was no exit wound, all the pieces should have been able to be collected and weighed to determine the exact bullet. Yeah. We're sleepwalking into needing a government ID to use a computer. Age verify laws are quietly building internet-wide surveillance and censorship of all adults. States and feds already voting on these laws. End of open internet. I mean, I know I had to do like the government ID to get on, like to work on YouTube, like to have super chats. You gotta verify your government ID. But just to watch YouTube, I don't. To get on X, you don't have to. I mean, if you want them to pay you, you do. But if you just want to post, you don't have to. I don't have to for like Spotify or I don't know. I mean, I don't. To pay your taxes, you do. Like if you pay your taxes online, you got to verify your ID. I think you do. Yeah, you got to go through ID Me or Gov or ID Gov or whatever it's called. What are you looking at porn or something, dude? Don't do that. Then you won't have to age verify. I had the Ayatollah Loomer Trump sent flowers, told him his butt looked good. Maybe he wouldn't have bombed Iran for Israel. What a crap show. I think he'd rather be dead. Hey, Brandon, the photos of the SUV. Last photo you showed under armrest looks like floor piece of copper. Last evidence I showed under the armrest on the floor, piece of copper. You talking about the back seat or the front back seat? You talking about that little grain of rice, maybe? Where's this copper use claim? Under the armrest? Under armrest on floor. I don't see an armrest in this picture. There's only 2 pictures I showed of the car. There's a picture of the front seat, but it didn't really show much. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. Armrest on the floor. I don't see any. Huh. I'll have to look closely at that. Thank you. Listen as much as I could while at work. After we watch later, much love from your best Alaska Indigenous supporter. Christ is King indeed. Thank you, Tamalove. Hey, Bear, my son Gio is watching. Can you say hi? Hi, Gio. If you heard me talking to Andrew earlier, disregard everything I said and don't talk about people like that. My husband, who hasn't followed this case, is an avid hunter. I asked him what he thought of fragments in car, and he agreed. If they are, then it's way too many for there to be an accident. Stay max. I'm doing my best. They extracted bullet in SUV, my theory. That would presume a bullet shot, sorry I stayed up late, but what the F? David Wilcock died. That's what I heard. I'd never heard of him until today. Was there a ring on the floor in the pick with the seatbelt? A ring on the floor in the pick with the seatbelt. Oh. No, but there's something there. Oh, that might just be. What is that? Oh, that's what you were talking about on the floor. Here, let me show you. This is the seat. Is this what you were talking about? That right there? That's not a ring. I don't know what that is, though. Oh, I think it's part of the seatbelt. I think it's like the locking mechanism. You know how you can lock it for kids? For like a car seat. You know what I'm talking about? I think that's what. I don't own one of these cars, so I don't know. Someone go out there and tell me. I feel like CK was alive, struggling in the SUV. So sick. People have thought that. Haha, Baron, you almost said I can't believe Charlie would stand hearing her up talk all the time. I agree. I don't see what he saw in EK. Congrats on the top 50. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. You see B. Bednar's last night. Thoughts? I did not. Let me see. What I saw his title, though. What was he talking about? Was it something about Candace? I didn't watch the show, but I saw the topic, and I think it was about Candace. I don't know what he said about her though. Woohoo top 50. Love the combo of you and Zach. Really appreciate your disclosure of your experience in the church pew and your anxiety being removed. God is good indeed. By the way, 11 years sober here. Life is good. Christ is king indeed. 11 years. That's a great story, sister. Golden Sunshine. Thank you for that. I had a great time with Zach. I had a great time. If you hadn't seen it, it's on his main channel. Flakes on the floor look like old window tint that can flake off, especially if you pick at it. Could the battery pack have had some kind of coating or wrap on it? It could have, but I doubt it. Thank you, Amelia. Amelia Bedelia. Sir Baron, the navy nightshade suits you well. It's giving sophisticated bad cop. I don't have my hat. I wore it today. I wore my bad cop hat. You have the right to shut your fat mouth. That's exactly right. Emailed you and tweeted Daisy to offer clip merch help. Renee from M Head. Marblehead, Massachusetts? Former home of Laurie and Kent Francevay? Thank you. Congrats, Baron, on your deserved success. I mentioned David Wilcock yesterday regarding Art's show and woke up this morning learning past hours later. I can't believe this timing. Yeah, it's surreal, isn't it? Indeed. Small update. My Lily is on her DC trip. She's okay and having fun. Me, still praying in my house. Never cleaner. I organize when I'm anxious. So win-win. Thank you for all the prayers. Congrats on top 50. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. I wish I cleaned when I was anxious, but I did not. I ate cookies. Congrats on the top 50. We appreciate the awesome intro and everything you put into the show. Much love from Webster, Texas. I've been to Webster, Texas to visit my cousin. That's where his place was. That's where his company was, not where his house was. Cool little town. First Peter tells us to always be ready with an answer for the reason for our hope. Dismissing Knifey's comment is weak sauce. It's nicey. No, I'm not dismissing it. I don't want to argue theology. I've answered that so many times on this show. I mean, 2 episodes? I probably answered that 15 times. I see it one way, you see it another. Let's talk about other stuff. Who cares? Just heard you read my comment, and for the record, AK was love from Alaska, not Andrew Kolvet. I would never have assumed that, Julie Pruitt. Never in a million years would I have assumed love from Alaska, love from AK. I knew. I'm in nightshade purple, or whatever that guy called it. Night prism. What color is this? The car cleaned and the ground paved so fast. Like a marsupial. King B, you got a beautiful super on Monday. A fan, thank you for making such a great community, brilliant show, and bringing faith back to some of us. I love that, and congrats on the success. You deserve it. God bless. That was a beautiful super. I know what you're talking about. And thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate that. Stuff in the seat could be quick clot granules. What is that? What is it? Quick clot granule. Quick clot granule. Images. Those look brown. Those don't look metallic to me. Yeah, those look brown. Maybe. Like I said, I'm not here to prove one. I'm here to ask questions. I'm here to find the answer. I'm not here to say I'm right or I know what it is. I don't. I want to know, but I don't. I wish the car was still available. Congrats on top 50. Thumbs up, everyone. Yeah, I like the show. How are we doing on likes? Do I have to shame you guys? Or are we good? We're doing well. I appreciate you guys liking it up over there. I'm asking everybody to say a prayer for Elkview, West Virginia. 45-year-old John Lucas was hit by an ambulance last week, dragged 2 miles to his death, even severing his arm. Local slop going on with false narratives. We love you, Baron. Congratulations. That's a horrible. Did they know they were dragging someone? My goodness. I'm 46. I can't imagine. Like, I can identify with that guy. Thank you. I got called a lefty today for saying Charlie Kirk's assassination needs to be investigated. It's hard out here for a critical thinker. Pray for me. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, that's why I gave you the warning about the SPLC thing. I think that's the next attack, is that this is just some sort of left-wing attack, and it's not. Baron David Wilcock was director of technology at Stavati Aerospace, where he promoted the investigation of free energy into their aerospace projects. The news isn't telling you this. Wonder why. Yeah, all I keep hearing is UFO guy. Thank you. I think they're going to blame CK event on SPLC. They. That would be tragic. Congrats, King B, on top 50. Proud of humble host. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. Baron, your show is the highlight of my day. If there was a Vance Kirk ticket, I'm moving to Canada. Oh, I'm moving to Canada? Thanks for making me LOL. Have a great night. I will. Baron, when you drink out of your mug, you reminded me of Mug Costanza. Great show. Christ is king indeed. It's a great mug. Mugs are great. They got a handle. You can like hold them like this. Like when they're warm, you can warm up in the morning with them and you can kind of drink like this, you know? Kind of look like you're just caressing the mug. Man, mugs are great. You can't do that with a cup. If there's no handle, if you're holding a cup like this and there's no handle, you're a psycho. You got a handle. You can do anything you want with it. Look, you can hold this thing any way you want. No one's going to say a word. You can hold it like this. People be like, oh, he's got a mug. We're good. If I grab a regular cup like this and start drinking out of it, people think I'm nuts. Oh, Baron's lost his mind. Do you see what he's doing? You see the way he drank out of that cup? Same posture, same hand placement, handle. It's all about the mug handle. Get away with anything with a mug. Christ is king indeed. Great work. Thanks for all you bring to us. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. Assumed into heaven. Mary, pure spirit, do visit us. Thank you. Congrats on cracking top 50. Been watching since Google Trends. Looked like there were metal fragments in the gauze, too. Oh, man, you guys are going to make me keep going back to these pictures, aren't you? Metal fragments in the gauze. I don't know what that is in the gauze. I don't know. Congrats on top 50. MECFS. Myalgic encephalomyelitis egregiously misnomered. CFS by CDC. Kind of like they said syphilis was bad blood in Tuskegee. Oh. So you're fighting myalgic encephalomyelitis. I've never heard of that. My thoughts and prayers with you, and I mean that. I'm not just saying that. First time using Super Chat. The fragments on the floor just beneath the ones in the seat. It looked like lead fragments to me. Thank you for everything. Oh, I see what you're saying. Those look like dust to me, though, like little dirt particles. Yeah, I don't know. They're out there. You guys tell me what you think. Definitely deserve a spot higher than the top 50. But guys, I was kind of proud of it. Y'all doo-dooing all over it. Congratulations, though. Congratulations, I guess. Keep up the fantastic work. Love being here. From Oklahoma. I've never been to Oklahoma, I don't think. If I have, I don't remember it. Thank you, Anna. Exploding Mike. Black plastic. Lead metal. Maybe. Be Wheezy. Now, this is a new name for me. I've never in my life been called Be Wheezy. Never one time has anyone ever called me Be Wheezy. You're the first. Top 50, Candace had a new intro today. Wonder why. Did she really? I have to go back and listen. Do you have an email? YouTube won't publish my chats to you. Yeah? Are you saying ugly stuff? There, it's on the bottom. I'll let it roll for a minute. But I don't check it that much, I'll be honest with you. You know what I meant? More like top 10. Oh, I know what you mean. I get it. Coming in late. If those are fragments in the seat seam, where would they have come from if not from his shirt or dug out of his neck? Also, Candace's show was very revealing, folding AR and possibilities. If they could have come out of someone's pocket. That would be an option. SPLC pays extremist informants. Everyone knew this for years. This is a witch hunt on the left. I think they're going to turn it on the right. I'm still not getting them with you or Candace, which is why I was so late today to your show. I thought you were waiting for Candace. Yeah, I don't know. I hate that. I don't know how to make them send notifications. All I can do is encourage you to sign up and click the notification bell. How was your day? Mine was pretty awesome. I had a really good day. Really good day. I was tired. I didn't sleep well. Mrs. Coleman didn't sleep at all. She didn't get to sleep till like noon today. Or actually later now, like 2 p.m. Probably asleep now in the same spot. Circumstantial evidence to your SPLC theory. Mark Levin and several others were on X last week claiming that Candace's X posts were getting too many likes within a few minutes. They claimed it was unnatural. That's because theirs don't get any. G-Man shut down. You're big in Central PA. Christ is King. The G-Man shut down? Like, I can't contemplate that. So there were 3 bars in town that we went to pretty regularly. There was one on Hanover something. But we went to the G-Man, and then after that shut down, we would go to Blondie's. And I was young, guys, and I was irresponsible. But after that shut down, we'd go next door to a place called Fast Eddie's. Fast Eddie's didn't shut down to like 4 a.m. But I was young, and I was irresponsible, and I highly don't recommend it. But I did not know that. That's terrible. Big in Central PA. How about that? Unbelievable. I had no idea. Right at 1 hour. That's the clip ad fleet. EK flies Delta. Oh, no, 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 no. I would have done that much better. I can't believe this case so far. So little turned over to the defense. How's the judge allowing this? I am in disbelief. So's your humble host, Colin Film. I agree with you, B. Blood isn't shiny when dry. I have never seen shiny dry blood, but I'm not an expert. Neff Kolvet show yesterday, their shocked reaction when they asked Burkhart when you expect to be impaneled, and she said early 2028. Kolvet facepalm, Neff huge eyes, head flew back. Yeah, I had that on the run, and where did I have that? No, maybe I didn't. Thought I did. Do I have it open? Yeah, I got it open. Interesting. Yeah, I saw it. Congrats on the top 50. Are you planning on a darker color hoodie? Say Baron a blue. I have 6 young grandkids and light colors don't favor. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. I will get the darkest hoodie. I've got a black hoodie on there. You can't get any darker than that. I only put a black hoodie up because Coach said he wouldn't buy a hoodie unless they were black. So I put a black one up, and he sent me a text and said, you earned yourself a sale. The necklace is David Yurman box chain. I bought my husband the exact same necklace in St. Michael Charm years ago and recognized it. Worth looking at, but I lean towards Fragments as well. Thank you. What if they were taking the bullet out? There's a lot of blood in the car with little blood at the scene. I think they would have mentioned it if they had grabbed the bullet. You know, that'd be something you'd say, hey, yo, and while we were in there, the bullet came out. I find it odd that a woman, Erika, would have a cross necklace made for her non-jewelry wearing husband who specifically said he was not a jewelry guy. Something is definitely behind the necklace. Maybe. Chavez is from Young Guns. Oh, man, I haven't seen that in so many years. I bet I haven't seen that since I was 13. That was a cool movie, though. Thank you for sharing the incredible moment you had at church on Zach's show. I shared it with my husband who struggles with anxiety. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Coach Katie coaches. Coach Katie coaches coaches. That could be like Peter Piper picked a pickle. Coach Katie coaches coaches. Looks like gauze pad at the bottom of the left seat. And first pics you showed had a shiny area. Can you zoom back into that? Does it look like the same material on the seats? Following pics don't have gauze. Sure, I can pull it back up. Let me zoom in on it. The gauze. That's as big as I can make it, man. I got no more in me. You're talking about right there? Maybe. I don't know. Kind of looks the same, doesn't it? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's just weird looking to me. Just weird looking. Can the black stuff inside the car be paint from the outside? All those marks on the org? Photo looks like black car paint on the floor. Yeah, I wouldn't think it's black car paint. Anyone who's drilled or done any sort of work with metal knows that looks exactly like metal shavings fragments. That's what I mean. It looked that way to me. You don't have to convince me. Oh, by the way, congrats on being in the top 50. We love y'all. Thank you, Sharon. Shirley, don't call me Shirley. Dang, fell short today. Got checked in my hotel by 7:30. Didn't make it through opening statement. Apologies. What's the P.O. box address or where can I find it? Thanks. Going to catch up now. I've got a crawler that has the P.O. box on it somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, there it is. Not a crawler. The thing there. There you go. All the P.O. boxing you need right there. Thank you, Jim. What if they're saying every clip, speech, and headline, not for accountability, but to rewrite history their way once they're gone? Just a thought. Christ is King sweatshirt here on Friday. What if they're saving every clip, speech, and headline? Who is they? I don't know what you're talking about. So we don't know what happened to any evidence and or analysis of the vehicle or clothes CK wearing. How very convenient. Has defense asked for either? I don't know what they've asked for. I've not seen their discovery request. We need Candace, Lionel Barron, and Coach Colin in one live show. Ooh, that'd be a tough one to schedule. There's a lot of schedules to put together there. How do you determine the diameter of a casing when the casing necks come in different diameters? In vid of Asian cop at UVU, you can see that SUV back passenger door can't be closed. Okay, a couple things. One, how do you determine the diameter of a casing when the casing necks come in different diameters? The way I'm interpreting that is you're asking, so a 30 caliber casing neck would always have a 30 a 0.30 inch or slightly larger than that diameter. So I don't know. I hope I answered that. I don't know. Video of Asian cop at UVU. You can see SUV back passenger door can't be closed. There's one angle I saw, and I would have to dig to find it. There's one angle I saw where it looked like the door closed as the SUV's driving off. It might have been deceptive, but that's what it looked like to me. Thank you, Boise Jet Guy. BS. Oh, B Money. Excuse me. I thought you called me BS. I was like, wow. Right to my face. Long for the day we normalize calling her E Francefe. Seriously, it makes my heart ache every time I hear E Kirk or the C Kirk show. They're dragging the name legacy in his afterlife. Sorry, Jesse. Yeah. Turk said SUV was off limits at hospital while being inspected. Would the feds police be required to complete an inspection report we could track down? I wouldn't think so. I don't know. Baron 42825. My husband bled out in front of me and cancer eating through the artery in his neck. The blood was overwhelming. Charlie Kirk, neck, not COD. My goodness, that first sentence just took my breath away. Oh, that's horrible. Thank you for sharing that, but man, that hit hard. When EK was holding his necklace out of the window in a photo, the PC of the cross was missing. Boom, mangled, broken PC fell out of his shirt. What is PC? PC of the cross? I don't know what the PC is. I don't recall seeing the cross being broken, but I'll have to go back and look. Dude, prayers are never wasted. I don't think they are either. So happy for your success and prayers of this group. Remember, congestive heart failure 2022 died of OD in 2023, and today's numbers are loss of 50 pounds. BP 112 over 78, 95% O2 set. No smoking after 48 years. I went max. Grams Donna, congrats. You sound like a walking success story. Glad you're still here with us. Thank you. TPUSA, it's Jover. No, it's Cover. Yes. I just ordered my RBP shirt and mug. Can't wait. Christ is King from QLD, Australia. Queensland, Australia. Thank you. Thank you, Nikki. Looks like a fragment on the gauze of the front seat. Yeah, we just took a look at that. I'd missed that. See, this is why I show you guys. You see things I don't see. Dried blood don't turn silver. I wouldn't think so, but I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm obsessed with these missing scientists. Thanks for covering them in opening statement. Congrats on another successful milestone. Following since Google Trends and so happy for you. High IQ and funny, too. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. And thank you for those kind words. Thanks for the rant. It's how I felt a long time. Oh, you're talking about Andrew? Yeah, I'm so frustrated with it. Coach asked you, how do you do that in 100 shows? What makes your show different and why you're rising so fast is that, like Queen Candace, you do not just recap content. You're research and investigative in a way that reflects the high IQ outfit. Christ is King indeed. I think there's value in those recap shows. I watch a lot of them. You know, I always look at this. Thank you for that, by the way. Very kind. Christ is King indeed. I look at the podcast community. There are recap shows. There are what I call like conglomerate shows where they'll go out and they'll find different things lots of different people are saying and put it together in a cohesive narrative. And then there are more investigative shows. I think they all have tremendous value. They all have tremendous value. Baron, I don't know if you've heard about Bob Kavoyan. Bob and Tom passed away last Friday. I did. I covered that a couple of days ago on the show. It may have been on the member show Friday, though. That may be why you didn't hear it. But you're a member. Maybe I covered it Sunday then. Jesse released a video on the Hadron Collider possibly being a time traveler machine. Candace says Charlie was a time traveler. Was Snake Eyes movie an Easter egg from Time Traveler Charlie? Well, that just blew my mind. I don't know. Doubt it, but I don't know. When people were saying who to put in place of Trump's picture, I thought St. Thomas More. I wanted to see what you'd say. Then you said you have a medal of him on Zach's show. I thought, what a coincidence. Have you read Utopia? I have read Utopia. I read A Man for All Seasons, and I don't know if I can get it out from under my shirt with my headphones on, but I have his medal right here. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm all tied up. It's in here somewhere. There it is. That's St. Thomas More. It's just trapped in my headphones. I have, yeah. And the movie A Man for All Seasons was good. I believe General McCaslin did take his handgun. Did I get that fact wrong? I thought I said that. Hold, please. Fact checking on the flight. We are checking. I said he left his revolver. Maybe I got that wrong. Interesting. EK. All widows celebrate differently. Oops, I mean grieve. They're scumbags. Well said, Baron. R.I.P. Charlie. R.I.P. to my brother, too. Congrats, top 50. It's 3 a.m. Good night from the United Kingdom. Good night, Jitterbug. Sleep well. Hope you sleep till like 10 a.m. Larry knows the retooling prayer she used on DT. That retooling prayer story was crazy. She used this younger pick to appeal to youth instead of using frumpy, almost 40-year-old current image. Oh, my God. Well, let's not call her frumpy, okay? She's still using appeal to manipulate the youth. Yeah, but she uses it on everything, not just college tours. Off topic, have you watched the Mayhem Classic from this past weekend? Highly recommend if you need a break from investigating. I did. I didn't watch every heat, but I watched a big chunk of it. I thought Gwen was fantastic. We did Gwen at our gym maybe a year ago. And I did it at, I want to say 115, and it just murdered me. They did it at 185. And I didn't do it nearly as fast as they did. It took me like 3 minutes to recover from the set of 15. Yeah, that was crazy. I think it was 115. I don't remember what weight I did. I know it wasn't 135. I have to go back and look. And it crushed me. Crushed me. Could that material in the seat and floor be quick clot clumps? That's hard to say. Quick clot clumps that have absorbed blood. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't think so, but I don't know. I don't understand not keeping the car as evidence. I do. They don't want evidence. That's why they paved over the crime scene. They paved over the crime scene. The crime scene. Paved. Over. You don't think they get rid of the car? Given what you know, what do you think will happen in the court case? TPUSA and EK and her BS lies. Where do you see us as a nation in the next 3 years? Oh, that's a big question at the end. What do I think will happen with the court case? I hope he doesn't. I hope he does what's best for him, but I hope he doesn't plead because I want to know what happened. And I think once he enters a plea or something happens to him, tragically, I hope that doesn't happen for sure. But we will never know. They will bury it so fast. It will be so over. So I hope we get to a trial, just personally. TPUSA and EK. I don't know, man. I don't think it's going well for them. What if they fired into a bulletproof vest in the car and gathered the jacket and fragments? Man, you got an active imagination. I don't think that's it either. Off topic, if you need a break from investigating and have not already watched the Mayhem Classic from this past weekend, I recommend it. Very entertaining. I did. You the same person? Yes, yeah, you are. Mad season. Maybe fragments of his necklace. Maybe. I mentioned TPUSA employee Matt because he stated CK was worried about prison because he allegedly that they were ballot harvesting for Trump with illegal access to polling data he sees, keeping enemy close. I don't think that's why he was afraid to go to prison. Baron, I saw some pics of CK in the Yukon. Someone took before they took off. Have you seen the pics of Charlie in the floor of the truck? No. No. Happy to review them. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. Leather pleather looks to be disintegrated or slightly melted. The leather overlay has white underneath, and when it peels, you can see the white. I don't know if the white is showing, and is what looks like silver frag. I don't think that's what it is. I don't know, just common sensing it, but I don't get the. It's a 24, 2-year-old car. It's a 1-year-old car at the time. The previous comment was correct. The digital ID will be required to use your computer for our safety, ushering in digital prison a step at a time. Well, that's scary. Man, the internet, the promise of the internet when it came on was like total freedom. No one will ever be able to control you again. Now the internet's like, here's your handcuffs, put them on. Carry your internet in your pocket so we know where you are at all times. Maybe the fragments in the seat where someone's pocket fell out. Congrats on the top 50. I suspected that myself. What's the metallic thing wedged between the seat and the backrest of the seat behind the fragments? I think it's the little clicky thing. What do you call that? The female part of the seatbelt? I don't know if that has a name. Bednars went off the rails over insane stuff. Watch it. Chick? I don't know what chick means. Duly noted. Is there a particular timestamp where the rails end? And he continues. I don't need sizes bigger than classic T size, just same sizes in women's shirts or darker colors in the classic. Oh, my knuckles aren't that big. Oh, Don, I would have never suggested your knuckles were that big. Sorry, I did not suggest you had 6X knuckles. I would have never thought that. So you're saying the women's shirts need larger sizes. Okay, well, let me check here. Ladies' shirts. Ladies' shirts. I got to go view all here. Oh, ladies' V-neck relaxed shirt. What sizes? They go to 2X. I will check. But we know we don't need a 6X. So up to 5. So, thank you, Don. It's Ragin' Storm Cloud, not Rag-In, as in my name is Stormy. Go ahead and steal it. Realize. Christ is king indeed. I think if I would have said Ragin' Storm Cloud, people would have been like, Ragin' Storm Cloud sounds like a really angry Indian name. You remember, like, Red Cloud is one of my favorite books I read. I can't remember what it was called, but I read a biography on the Lakota Sioux leader Red Cloud. What a great book. Holy mackerel. What a great book. But Ragin' Storm Cloud would have been cool. Hey, Baron, remember Hands Across America back in 1986? I was in Hands Across America. Yes, I was. I think my whole elementary school went out and did it, if I'm not mistaken. I came across a post and I forgot about that. It'd be a cool opening to some nice news. I remember that. I think we went out to US 40 in Indiana, if I'm not mistaken. I remember doing it. That just made me feel really old. When did CK pose for the final cover on Erika's book? Can we FOIA police cam videos or find a way to get any footage of the SUV mid-drive? I mean, you're welcome to file it. In Utah, they're called grandma requests. They're going to deny it, though, because it's an active investigation. The fragments on floor and back seat in jam, where seat moves back and forth, is full of fragments, and they're just below the ones in the front seat. I noticed that. I did notice that. I don't know, man. I don't know what those are. I sure wish we had the car so we could find out. They're launching their campaign. That's what the campaign countdown timer is at Vance Kirk website, I suppose. Quite telling given the timing. Is there a countdown timer on Vance Kirk website? It just says launching soon. There's no countdown timer. Interesting. Corby Hall, guy on Candace Owens, said a 300 blackout from the assumed distance and angle would drop about 10 inches. And if it was a headshot, it would hit the neck. Yeah, maybe. Baron Dumb, deep underground military base. Ah, got you. Christ is king indeed. P.S. You're higher than the eyebrow on Spotify. Is that true? I thought he was in the top 10. Unless there are more than one eyebrows. They had him screaming and don't stop even when dispatch told them to. They heard him screaming. Who heard him screaming? The cops? I'll have to go back and listen to that if that's true. And did dispatch tell him to stop? Oh, I have to go back and listen. He's taking that mug to the private suite. You talking about my mug? Oh, I was getting into my mug. What you doing later? What you doing later, mug? It's empty. But I can fill it back up. Oh no. The cup has gotten angry. It feels slighted. It's tipped over. Congrats on the 49. Proud to say I knew this pod way back when, pre-Joe. Crash out. Thanks, Ian, for shouting out RBP. Thanks, CO, for propping up both of these fabulous young men for the world to see. All hail little sis. Yeah, so when I was talking to Ian today, I told him that. I was like, man, I cannot thank you enough for what you've done for this show and my life, frankly. Just unbelievable. Like, I get emotional thinking about it. What a great guy. Funny you should mention that. PBD was requesting to see Tucker's financials to ensure he wasn't taking money from a foreign government. Oh, see? Like that would show anything. Like you're going to have a line in your checkbook like, from Moscow, from Abu Dhabi. Come on. It wouldn't show anything anyway. Black confetti tags are typically found on the floor around an area where a taser was fired. While the marks on the skin or clothing are associated with the probes themselves. Those don't look like confetti tags. No, those don't look like confetti tags. That's an interesting thought, though. Anyone else wonder if Joe still tunes in? Happy 3 months. Oh, I hope so. She's getting an education. She needs it. I'm still subscribed, still completely befuddled by daffodils. I don't know what that means, but you are. On a serious note, so glad you found me. Yeah, I am too, Tiffany. Thank you. Very glad I found you. And I'm glad you're befuddled by daffodils, even though you don't remember that show. Age verify in about prawn. House bill proposes it for all operating system: Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, Android, etc. Show ID or be shut out. What about our Raspberry Pi people? What about the weirdos? Are they going to have it? Is that why they're so far ahead of the curve? They're like, I knew it. I'm on my Pi. You can't ID me. Charge could have been in seat. There were holes in his chair. You can see them when they're dealing with CK. Makes more sense than to come out his neck. To then come out his neck. Okay. I'll have to go back and look at it. I didn't see holes in the seat. Congrats, King Baron. Awesome show. And keep seeking the truth. We're so blessed to have you. Christ is king indeed, and Jesus loves you as well. You, Holly. Turning Point has changed their logo. Congrats on 50. Have they really? What did they change it to? A devil tail? They took the red and the blue out. It's just white now. Hasn't it always been white, though? Didn't they always have that as an alternate logo? I don't know. I don't keep up with the brand standards over at Turning Point. Thank you. CK at 1813. Is attorney saying trial starts in 2018? Yes, 2018. Man, it'd be great to go back 2018. Pre-COVID, pre-STEMI cash. A different world. Housing at half price. Imagine if you go back and just go long on Apple and Bitcoin. Congrats on top 50. Nothing can stop you. You're going all the way. May God continue to bless our humble host and high IQ group. Christ is King. Thank you. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Famous quote from Looney Loomer last night. You're not defined by how many times you get knocked down. You're defined by how many times you get with child. Towards the end with 39 minutes left. I do not watch her. Congrats on top 50. Navy Knight is the shade. I tried to download vids to clip them to no avail. Yes, Marblehead Mass. I've asked around. We don't know her. Christ is King indeed. Oh, Navy Knight. Okay. I believe you. I believe you. Oh, let me show you something. Someone sent this to my P.O. box. It's a hoodie. You can't really see it because of the color contrast. It's a hoodie. Guy got his hands in his little hoodie pocket, and I put pins in it. Look at that. Isn't that cute? When I went to fill my water, I saw it. Tried to download video clips. Okay. But Baron, congrats on the top 50. Appreciate all you do. Love from Northeast Tennessee. Christ is King. Are you from the Tri-Cities, Quad Cities? What do we have? We got Tri-Cities up there. Johnson City and Kingsport and something else. Bristol. So we can find a way to send our favorite clips to your show to you. My faves are still Crazy Eyes and Up Talking, but most recently, your delight that closed captioning also classified as a question. Oh, that was funny. That was a nice moment in time. I'd like to go back and relive some of those moments. Baron, you've helped inspire this cradle Catholic who's returned to the church after about a 15-year lapse in practicing. A decade of that spent in alcoholism until 2.5 years ago. Love what you do. Closer internal. Congratulations. Welcome home. Welcome home. Alley Top Files vid. CK sits up and hand bends in SUV. Oh, I have seen that. I just can't really tell what's going on in there. Foul play with the Rode microphone ought to be highly considered due to the fact that his microphone was never recovered. Do we know that? Do we know the microphone was never recovered? Are we assuming facts not in evidence? Frags came out with blood flow and the fingers were pulled off of the wound, spilled out onto the seat. You said that awfully confidently. Did you mean to uptalk? Frags came out with blood flow when the fingers were pulled off from the wound, spilled out onto the seat? In which case I'd be like, yeah, I don't know either. Hey, redacted, show redacted you. All right. Trump slump used by CO's guest today. Please look at Utah-based company sued by the DOJ in May 25 with a $62 million settlement. That's a lot of money. Trump slump. Got it. Duly noted. I think PC equals pieces. Okay. That makes more sense. Scratching the heavy plastic of the base of the captain chair. Dried blood next to it. Scratching the heavy plastic of the base of the captain chair. Man, I got so many tabs open right now. Heavy base of the plastic of the captain's chair. Dried blood right next to it. I don't see the scratch. Oh, that's not a scratch. That's where the armrest goes up and down, I think. I don't know. It's lead fragments they were stuffing in his wound. To fake bullet shot, they're going to have to do that anyway. If the shaped charge had wounded his chest. Interesting take. MECFS non-HIV AIDS, aka chronic fatigue syndrome. Please read plague. Mikovits heckin' lively. Heckin' lively. Heckin' lively. That sounds like dude, that guy's great at a party. He's heckin' lively. You always want, it's like his name's Dave. You always want Dave around, man. He is heckin' lively. Top 3 of the best books I ever read. Part of what got me to a second degree in micro, besides child injured. I don't know what the thing was there. Non-HIV AIDS, aka chronic. Well, non-HIV AIDS is called idiopathic T-cell lymphocytopenia. That's non-HIV AIDS. Idiopathic T-cell lymphocytopenia. That is like the medical definition, because that is idiopathic, meaning of unknown origin, T-cell, meaning your CD4, CD8 count, CD4 count primarily, and then lymphocytopenia, death of the cell. So I've never heard chronic fatigue syndrome called that. Okay. Loomered by Larry's. I'm not saying it because around my house, that means something. That's not a party. That's can be. That's the lady thing. So I'm not going to say it, but that's ooh, indeed. Why are we talking about her hooting? The way they got rid of the SUV is similar to how the University of Idaho demolished the Idaho 4 murder house before the trial. Yeah, that was insane. Same thing when they're knocking down these schools right afterwards, like, hey, crime scene. The jury may want to walk around. Keep it up. Dude, you didn't answer the question. Where do you see the USA in 3 years? How do we fight against? I said I don't know. It's a big question. I don't know the answer. I mean, I tend to be a micro changes guy. I mean, obviously 2020 was a massive change, 2020, 2021 with COVID and shutting everything down and the stimmy money and now inflation. We'll feel the effects of that inflation for decades. Everybody was so happy with their $2,000 stimmy check that's going to cost them $30,000 in extra costs over the next few years to pay for the two they got. You can't dump 40% of the money supply into a society and then not expect a 40% increase in prices. And now the 40% is perpetual. It's not going to come back down. So you lose money over the long run when you hand free money out. So I don't know. But other than that, I mean, things tend to progress slowly. We don't tend to have massive swings in society. So in 3 years, that's not a very long time. It'd probably be about like it is now. How do we fight against the government court lies, especially with the Charlie Kirk case? We keep the investigation heat on. We look for whatever those little silvery, shiny things are in seat corners, and we raise them. And we analyze sounds of the, entering the different microphones from various locations. And we analyze everybody's movements and see what they're doing. And we change the colors and the contrast. And we keep the pressure on. Hey, B, there may have been a scuffle in the car. Did you see Allie's pick video of Charlie Kirk racing up inside the car? You can see the back of his head and left shoulder. I did, but I have no idea what else is going on in the car. That's the thing. So I don't know what to make of it. I know what you're talking about. I would love to know what it is, but I don't. I pick my kids up at school every day. I listen to you through radio. Reminds me of Paul Harvey. Good day. Or Rush back in the day. Thank you for bringing back my childhood. Love your show and don't ever miss. Thank you, Trisha. High praise mentioning those two heroes. Placement of the chairs, the armrest, and the perfectly placed Fiji bottle makes 0 sense. Yeah. Yeah, you almost assuredly would not see the armrest down while he was in there if he was laying down. So that certainly wouldn't happen. Did you catch on CO's show? Victor told Colby he could help him disappear. My heart dropped. I didn't see that part. What's X News? Hold, please. What is X News? You mean trending? Oh, my gosh. Check this out. This is wild. No way. Check this out. Look at the top right here. The top trending story on X is your humble host. Look at that. Hold on. I got to screen cap this. Save it for posterity. That's nice. That's nice. How about that? Oh, now look at the bottom story. Mark Levin claims superior audience numbers to Tucker Carlson on TV and radio. That's awesome. That's awesome. Let's see what they say. Are they bad-mouthing me? Oh, that was me. Yeah, this is nice. How about that? You people are nice. I had no idea. Well, thank you for pointing that out. Daisy jumped in the chat to tell me that behind the scenes. She said people are saying you're on X News. I have no idea what that means. I didn't know what it meant either. I had to open X to see what it meant. And then I saw my name, drew my attention. Thank you. Look, we're guys, our community. It's all of us. It's not me, not your humble host. Yeah, I did not catch that part. I did not get to watch the whole thing. I watched, I think, all but like the last 15 or 20 minutes, though. So if it was before that, I might have missed it. Thank you for being so much fun. I think the Iranian Lego video nailed what happened to Charlie. Yeah, that was dark. You guys thinking they're trying to stop blood, I forgot they killed him. We can't say that. We don't know that. We don't, who, how, why. That's what we're trying to solve. Google says top 31 political podcast. Whoa. We made Baskin Robbins territory, guys. Show's on fire. All right. I got to talk to my grumblers for a second. They get mad when I wait too long. I read JoJo's because it was timely. Welcome to our newest mod. Congrats on the top 50. Your grumblers made that happen. Great job, Aaron. We're here with you since Google Trends. Thank you for being our humble host. Thank you, JoJo. Very kind of you. Mr. Weedman. We love you, Baron, but this message is for those who comments on supers are unkind or rude to our humble host. I hope your room temperature IQ keeps it impossible to underestimate you. Well, that's something harsh. You may be in the top 50 in the world, says I don't give a damn, but you're tied with number one in our hearts with our principle. Also, us grumblers need our beauty sleep, and we're not 21 over here no more. We're cracked up for Rumble egg merch. We're working on it. We're working on it. Our grumblers, they just have no patience. No patience. You called me Anna from Oklahoma. I'm Trisha. Oh, sorry, Okie gal. It won't happen again. Won't happen again. Did you mention David Wilcott? Yeah, several times. Thank you. Thank you, Pat. Baron, so glad Candace sent me here. I'm a retired cop of 18 years, and I've never seen a scene cleared so fast and covered in cement. Lost trust in TPUSA after that. Thank you for all you do. God bless. All the people are like, I don't understand why they don't think Tyler Robbins did it. They paved over the crime scene. Oh, Mrs. Weedman. I apologize, Mrs. Weedman. I knew a guy in Alabama. His first name was M, and his last name was Weedman, and I wasn't sure if that was him. Hi, Baron. Been a silent watcher since latest October. Love Tennessee. Attended UT Martin. Oh, great school. And was on the rodeo team. Well, howdy. Ma'am. What if John B was correct and black fragments are from a shot in the back of the SUV into the black box? Just a silly thought. I don't know that's silly, but I don't think the box he thinks was in that car. I think he thinks the box was in the van. Been listening since late October, early December. Recently became a member and started from episode 1. The first episode had me dying. The headset made me think of Masters of the Air. Hope you get it. Dare I say you're my number one podcast. Well, that headset is right here. I could put it on. This is what I listen to during the day. Because I don't like having things stuck in my ear all day. It sits right here on my desk all day long. These are so old. I got those in 2014. Those are 12-year-old headphones. They're great, though. These are the 770s. Yeah, the DT77 Pros. Those are great headphones. Thank you for that. Since the microphone hasn't been demonstrated to have been recovered, it's doubly sus. Yeah, I mean, but there are probably a lot of things that haven't been demonstrated to be recovered. If they don't have it, that is suspect. Not only do they, now listen, let me go one more thing. Not only do they have to have the microphone, I want the audio from the microphone. That audio would be so telling because if the microphone wasn't damaged, it is going to continue to record. I have that microphone. It records independent. And it will keep recording. And so that audio should exist. If that microphone is intact, that audio should exist. And the defense should be asking for it. Stat. I'm a newbie, so I might have missed when Dan Bongina came about. Please tell me. This cracks me up every time I hear it. I love the Boston accent added for maximum effect. Much love from New Hampshire. So you understand about Bongina. I stole that from somebody. Somebody on YouTube called him Bongina, and I thought it was hilarious. I literally cracked up in my kitchen. I remember where I was when I heard it. I was in my kitchen waiting on something to get out of the microwave. And I heard the guy call him Bongina. And I thought, what? He didn't say it like I did. He just said Bongina. But I thought, man, that's great. And if I added a little effect, it'd be really great. Just common sensing it. I agree about a newer Denali, but the rest of my thoughts about that seat won't send. You just say stuff. I think stuff. Oh, you do think stuff. And you think great. I lost my husband on 12/31/08. Our son just turned 1. How? Just turned 1? 12/31/08. That was 18 years ago. Oh, your son had just turned 1 when you lost him. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. I was not trying to make light of that. I was baffled by the math, but now I get it. I never remarried or had more kids. She can't fool us widows. It still takes my breath away. Christ is king. Lindsay, I've long said, and I'll say it again, widows are the hardest on Erika. They're the ones that keep this story alive, frankly. And thank you for sharing your story. And your son's now probably a full-grown adult. It's amazing. 13,000 watching and 13,000 in likes. We appreciate you. Christ is king. Keep doing God's work and going, Max. Yeah, we had a good like ratio tonight. I think Candace going late. She had a very long interview, and that's fine. I mean, run her show. But I think her going a little late is probably going to mean the numbers will catch up tonight and tomorrow. But yeah, we appreciate you. Christ is king indeed. Keep doing God's work and going. I'll do my best. Melissa Meals St. Anne. L. St. Anne 2012. I just like reading your names, and I can't always figure out what they are. Congrats on top 50. Thank you. Like I said on X, it's a feather in all of our caps. It is. It's about the community. Not me. I didn't go in the top 50. You guys did. Critical to mention this. X, it's a feather in all of our caps. Critical to mention this. Yes, there's power in numbers and truth. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. Absolutely. This is not your humble host. It's our humble community. Thank you, Nicole. Nikolai, maybe? Having the same issue about sending a super chat regarding the seat. That's weird. I wonder what's going on in the seat, the super chats. Guys, guess what? Our time has come to an end. Thank you. I'm telling you, the hitting the 100,000 milestone, hitting the 200,000 milestone, then the 250, now being in the top 50 on the little podcast rankings. I mean, it's so humbling that you guys would come spend time here with me. So thank you for doing that. I genuinely appreciate it. Most of you, if not all of you, already have, but go ahead and click the like button if you haven't. Subscribe, click notifications. I think they go out. I got mine today, so I think they fixed it. But thank you for joining me. I will be back mañana. I'll be back tomorrow night. Again, I don't know what time. 6:30, 7 o'clock. Probably not 7. 5:30, 6:30, somewhere in there. And then I'll be having a member show Friday. Got a good show lined up for you. I'll let you know about it tomorrow. Member show on Friday, and then I'll usually take Saturday off. Shabbat Shalom, got to read Charlie's book. So I'll take Saturday off, and I'll be back then Sunday night. But thank you guys. Thank you. I cannot thank you enough. Seeing the name and the X trend and the podcast ranking is it's overwhelming, honestly. I'm whelmed. I'm finally whelmed. Not by the evidence, but by all this. I'm very whelmed. So thank you. In the meantime, don't forget, Jesus loves you. Have a wonderful night. Buenos noches to our friends south of the border. Buenos noches. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night. Thank you.